pitch by Stanley, and a ground ball trickling. It is a fair ball. Gets by Buckner. Rounding third night. The Mets will win the ball game. The Mets win. They win.
Turn the calendar ahead 11 years. The pride of the Red Sox is local product Mo Vaughn out of Seton Hall University. While the Mets catcher Todd Hundley has blossomed into a star at bat and behind the plate. So the interleague fireworks begin tonight. The Mets and the Red Sox renew their acquaintances. Up next. The forecast at Shea Stadium tonight: clearing skies, warm temperatures, and uncharted waters as baseball enters a brand new era. Interleague play at Shea Stadium for the first time as the New York Mets face the Boston Red Sox. Hi again, everyone. I'm Howie Rose along with Fran Healy. I have a confession to make. I am a card-carrying traditionalist who wanted no part of interleague play when they first came up with the idea. However, you look around this place tonight, it's full, there's energy, people have been talking about it, the players are talking about it. It has given baseball what it has needed, a shot in the arm. There is no way that this can be anything but good as baseball heads into something they've never had before. Mid-season interleague play, the thing I like about it best is that it's a limited schedule of interleague games, 15 or 16 per team, per season, and then it's time to get back to regular business. But it really seems as though the initial idea here, Fran, to rejuvenate the fans, spur some new interest, is starting to work.
Oh, Howie, I'm a firm believer interleague play is going to help baseball. I'll tell you, it gives the fans here in New York, Met fans, an opportunity to see a star like Mo Vaughn. And of course, eventually the Mets will go to Boston. It'll give the Boston fans a chance to see Todd Hundley or Bernard Gilkey. I think it's very, very important. Progress never be impeded by guys like yourself.
I surrender. I throw up the white flag. This is fine. Now, there are some questions I know a lot of people have had about interleague play, how it's going to work with regard to the standings and records and things of that nature. So let's take a look at exactly some of the things you might be wondering about and hopefully put some questions to rest.
Well, in use tonight, National League umpires, no designated hitter.
Mazel tov. That much I like. I'm never changing on that.
All right, and all statistics will count. 5 games played so far. 4 of the 5 have been won by those guys from the American League, and 209 ball games left as far as interleague play is concerned. But this is terrific for baseball. You're going to see different degrees of enthusiasm concerning interleague play.
That's right. We've hit the home stretch now, down to the final 209 games of this interleague season. Which baseballs will they use? Well, in National League parks, the one on the left.
Well, you see, it's blue. There you have a baseball, and it's different than the American League ball. They just can't seem to see eye to eye.
All right, so the Mets and the Red Sox getting ready, not for the first time here at Shea Stadium since 1986, but since 1987 when they played an exhibition game here in May. The loyalties have been divided. Matt Loughlin will chat with the manager of the Mets, Bobby Valentine, right after this.
New York Mets baseball on Sports Channel is brought to you by the Coors Light Wide Mouth Can. Tap the Rockies with a smoother pour. By Discover Card, proud partner of the Smithsonian's 150th anniversary. By Nobody Beats the Wiz. For state-of-the-art home electronics, computers, cameras, music, movies, and more, nobody beats the Wiz. And by your Tri-State GMC dealers.
At Nobody Beats the Wiz, we know Father's Day sales like nobody else. Every 27-inch TV, hi-fi VCR, surround sound home theater system, portable and car CD player on sale. Plus all 900 megahertz phones, fax machines, printers, and organizers. And save on camcorders, cameras, and computers. Buy 2 Polygram Soundsaver CDs, get 1 free. Plus we have great financing plans from Sony, Mitsubishi, and ProScan. You'll love it, Dad'll love it. Nobody knows a Father's Day sale like Nobody Beats the Wiz.
We're standing at the threshold of a new era. Old ideas about energy are giving way to new opportunities. GPU Energy can help you make the most of these advances. with systems that help you operate your home more efficiently, products that can give your business a competitive edge, and technology that respects and protects our environment. What comes next? Let's find out together.
GPU Energy, inventing the future.
Now you can earn a free weekend night after just 3 stays at Hilton. Between June 2nd and August 31st, every 3 Double Dip stays will earn Hilton Honors Worldwide members 1 free night. To start earning your free night, call 1-800-HILTONS.
Hey, kid, could you fax these for me? Thanks a lot. Can you file these for me? 200 copies of these before you leave.
Too busy to watch the game? Sports Channel Light is a 30-minute condensed version of the day's best game every night at 11.
Thanks, kid. You're really going places.
Sports Channel Light. How to make the game when you can't make the game.
Welcome back to Shea Stadium, everyone. I'm Matt Loughlin, joined by Mets manager Bobby Valentine. And Bobby, as we listen to the comments made by players and management about interleague play, you are a strong proponent of it. How come?
I'm not such a strong proponent of just interleague play. I'm a strong proponent of the concept that we need in baseball to do what we're doing. We need to move forward. We need to get off of the snide. You know, I think we've been paralyzed in our game by the lack of decision-making process. You know, back in, and this is probably going to get me fined, please, now, Mr. Commissioner, Mr. President, understand. But you know, in my era, during my day, I've lived through the decision or non-decision about the DH. That was the last, I think, really big move that we made in baseball. We were going to change the rules and have a DH, and we were going to decide in 2 years whether it's a good idea or not. And I think that was about 15 years ago. Since then, we haven't done anything. And we've been standing still. I think when you stand still, you go backwards. I think we have gone a little backward, and I think this is a step forward. I think this is hopefully something that we'll decide on to be good, decide to move forward to the next step, and eventually to what needs to be the major step, and that's in the International World Series.
So as baseball takes this step and begins this process that you hope they will follow through on, excited about tonight's matchup because it's Boston?
Yeah, I was excited last night watching the game between San Francisco and Texas. You know, that was the first one. And there was a special feeling. I think in a manager's life, all firsts are special. You know, my first game, when Sean Gilbert stole his first base, when Kashiwada got his first win, Corey Liddell got his first save. I mean, those are all very special things for this season because they were all firsts. And this being the first game that I'll get to manage and get to see of the Mets doing their interleague thing, I'm very excited about that.
As the fans, I'm sure, are. It's the Mets and Red Sox from Shea coming up in just a moment when we return to the big ballpark in Flushing. Stay with us.
Bring the family to Massachusetts and
visit our beaches where you can get on a deck
that goes 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
Take the kids to our children's museum, and then at lunchtime,
just tear their little claws off.
It's easy.
You can see whales hang by the neck.
And then man a real battleship and take aim at
the home of Dr. Seuss,
creator of The Grinch that stole
168 bases in his career.
Pick up your free Massachusetts Getaway Guide at all participating CVS locations.
Carrying gear or hauling the family, there's a Ford Explorer for you. And buying one just got easier at your Ford dealer. Because now you have a choice that can save you thousands. Want a low APR? For the first time ever, get 4.8 financing for up to 48 months. Need a longer term? It's easy. Choose 5.9 financing for up to 60 months. Want a great selection? You've got it. Save on every new Explorer model in stock. 4.8 for 48 or 5.9 for 60. This is a limited time offer. See your Tri-State Quality Ford dealer now.
Howie Rose, Fran Healy for some history at Shea Stadium. June 13th, 1997. Toby Breyer just completing the national anthem, and pretty close, not exactly a full house, but pretty close to a full house for the first interleague game. And Jim Rice was part of the excitement back in 1986.
He was an outstanding major league hitter. The hitman used to be a batting instructor with the Red Sox, still has an impact on the Red Sox ball club. Mo Vaughn told me today on the way to the ballpark, he talked to the hitman on the phone. He still converses with him about swinging the bat. Eastler was given a lot of credit for the ascension of Mo Vaughn as far as statistics were concerned in the major leagues. An offensive player. There's Mo.
Tell you what, the Mets are happy never to see Mike Eastler again. Maybe not this group, of course, but when Eastler played in this league with the Pittsburgh Pirates, I guess you got to say this league tonight, meaning the National League, he tattooed them, as Vaughn has tattooed American League pitchers for a while now, and there's the Mookster.
You know, it's amazing how Mo Vaughn told me he's still in contact with Mike Eastler. In fact, Mike Eastler does some work for him, but when he came into the major leagues, Eastler took him under his wing. And Vaughn gave a lot of credit to Eastler. Now he says the most important impact Eastler had on him was mentally. But when they replaced Eastler, they replaced him with a really unbelievable major league hitter in Jim Rice.
So the umpires going over things tonight, and certainly for the Boston Red Sox, a need to get a look at the specifics of the ground rules here. You know, because every ballpark has nicks and crannies where the ball might roll under an opening below the seats, and the umpires explaining what happens there. Usually a ground rule double depending upon where the play was at the time. And the fences, if you look out to left field and right field with the naked eye, you can't see necessarily that there's any room behind that whiz sign down the left field line and the padded wall above it, which has those 4 retired uniform numbers. But there are 3 feet back there, so anything going above that whiz sign is a home run.
Well, and it's also up to the outfielders to go out there before a ball game if it's brand new to them and take a look. But that's their job. Get an idea of the carom off the wall. Now here are the umpires in tonight's ball game. Ed Rapuano behind the plate, Terry Tata at first base, C.B. Buckner at second base.
You gotta have a guy named Buckner in the ballpark tonight somehow.
That's wild. And all National League umpires in tonight's ball game. Jerry Davis will umpire out at third base. And how about Mookie Wilson throwing out first ball?
Oh, this will be real popular up in Boston.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably in commercial right about now. They are not going to show Mookie Wilson on Boston television if they can help it tonight.
I think the shame of it up in Boston is the way Bill Buckner was handled. Bill Buckner is a guy who has borderline Hall of Fame credentials. He made an error in a World Series, and I'm telling you right now, they never let him forget it. I mean, he had to move out of the Boston area with his family.
Well, the amazing thing about Mookie Wilson and how he's handled everything that's happened since that famous night of October 25th, 1986, and if you were watching our pregame show, you saw the way he went through things pitch by pitch with Sam Marciano. He has the capacity, and it's one that you just can't take for granted, to make every conversation on that subject, one which has to be tiresome 10.5 years after the fact for Mookie. He has the capacity to make every conversation seem as though it's the first time he's dissected it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't bother him to talk about that, but I agree with you. He feels like he's talked about it enough. Now we're going to take a look at the Red Sox lineup, brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealers. You see this young shortstop, Nomar Garciaparra, leading off. He's a good one. He'll be followed by Darren Bragg, and then former MVP award winner in the American League, Mo Vaughn, batting .330. Tim Nearing batting fourth. Scott Hatteberg batting fifth. John Valentin, also from Seton Hall, batting sixth. The bottom 3, Troy O'Leary, Shane Mack, and Jeff Suppan.
And so Rick Reed, who has faced the Red Sox in the past. Remember Reed, formerly a member of the Kansas City Royals in the American League. All these pitching numbers brought to you by Toyota.
You know, we were talking in the open about an opportunity for Met fans to get to see some of these American leaguers here, like the Red Sox. You see Mo Vaughn. Well, here's a budding star, the leadoff hitter for the Red Sox, Nomar Garciaparra.
And so Rick Reed throws the first interleague regular season pitch in New York history, and it's chopped to Franco. One man away. Well, our GPU game time temperature, that's GPU energy to you, friends, is 72 degrees.
Well, you know, all you have to do is look around this ballpark. Is interleague play good for baseball? Well, they're going to have a big crowd on hand. There's going to be different degrees of enthusiasm concerning interleague play. But here in New York, if you have the Red Sox against the Mets, and of course next week, you're going to see a World Series atmosphere over at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, and a lot more people will get into the ballpark tonight than you saw in that picture a moment ago, because we understand there is a king-size traffic jam outside the ballpark, partially necessitated by the weather and a lot of puddles on the road. And Darren Bragg looks at a pitch at the knees from Rick Reed. Bragg had a 6-game hitting streak stopped last week, but he has pretty much been a fixture for the Red Sox this season. And he hits that one hard. Will it stay fair? No. No balls, 2 strikes on Darren Bragg. And defensively, Olerud, Baerga, Lopez at short now, and Franco at third. Alfonso day-to-day with the hamstring. Gilkey, Everett, Ochoa in the right field, in the outfield, with Husky also hampered by a hamstring, and Hundley catching Reed.
Well, many times during the course of this season, as you look at Lopez, Bobby Valentine has been second-guessed about playing a guy after somebody else had 3 hits the day before. Well, we'll see if it pays off. He's used everybody. He needs everybody now.
On the inside corner, Bragg is gone, and here comes Vaughn.
I'll tell you one thing. The book on Reed is he'll stay away, 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 away. You go up, you look away, 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 and this is what happens. He throws a fastball inside. It's not overpowering, and it freezes you. How about this guy right here? Seton Hall, player of the decade at Seton Hall. What a talent. Won the MVP award in the American League. Controversial, though, that year. A lot of people felt Albert Bell got gypped.
Hit hard by Vaughn. Baerga with the bobble stays with it, and the side retired. So the Red Sox go in order here at Shea Stadium. Middle of the first, the Red Sox nothing, and here come the Mets.
They're really your employees, but they feel a lot like your family. You're fond of many of them and accustomed to the rest of them. And for almost 60 years, GHI has been helping employers like you give their employees the kind of health care they want. Employees get direct access to doctors and hospitals throughout New York State, and you get a reasonable price tag for it all. GHI, we put the care back in health care.
Old junky antique shops. I like. You want me to tell you what my Discover card statement says? Just little things that make a girl sing. I have fish, and I have birds, and I have dogs. Mango. Cecilia Bartoli, and something by Puccini. Floridita Cuban restaurant. Fabulous. Stuck to my diet a little bit. That cash bonus thing at the end of the year.
How many credit cards make a statement like that?
Live a little.
It pays to Discover. Use it where you see the Novus sign.
Pan Am now serves New York to Los Angeles. Non-stop, 3 times a day, every day, from only $164 each way. And with Pan Am's World Pass, the fastest way to fly free, you're really ahead of the game. Pan Am. Call your travel agent or 1-800-FLY-PAN AM.
It's going to be exciting. You know, I know a lot of people here in New York are looking forward to that series, but I just think it's going to be really exciting, good competition, and may the best team win.
Well, look at the GMC Mets lineup. Carl Everett in center field leading it off. Bernard Gilkey batting number 2. First time this year for Gilkey batting in the second hole. Then John Olerud batting third. The middle 3, Todd Hundley batting .299, Carlos Baerga at .294, and then Matt Franco. The bottom 3, Alex Ochoa, Luis Lopez, and then Rick Reed.
And they face Red Sox pitcher Jeff Suppan, who was at Pawtucket, to use the local vernacular, earlier this year, where he went 5-1. Everett goes after the first pitch, hits it deep to right center. Away back, that's a gunner! Home run, Carl Everett. Everett. The Mets are leading 1-0.
Well, Carl Everett likes interleague play. Besides being a goner, that's a tone setter. He's setting the tone offensively for his ball club. Home run over the center field wall.
So on Suppan's first pitch, Everett with a homer, and Bernard Gilkey batting in the 2-hole tonight with Edgardo Alfonso out with a hamstring problem. The 2-hole not at all new to Bernard. He's done it and done it very well in the past, mostly of course with St. Louis.
Suppan has, as you just seen, a curveball. He has a fastball, has pretty good velocity, and a changeup.
Gilkey showed bunt, pulled it back.
I like that idea. He's been struggling. Batting 200 is how he said. Do anything you can. He's got all kinds of talent. He's got to get on the right track. The Mets need him now with all the injuries.
Upstairs, ball 4. So 5 pitches have been thrown by Suppan. A home run and a 4-pitch walk to Gilkey. Olerud will be next.
Well, this is our Discover card payback playback. Suppan challenging Carl Everett, who's leading off with a heater. And Everett hits the ball over the center field wall. Leadoff hitters see an awful lot of fastballs. Good spot for Carl Everett.
And it's not as though the Red Sox don't know what Everett's strengths and weaknesses are. Frank Malzone's been at the ballpark scouting.
He's been living here.
Yeah, not going to be here tonight, obviously. But, you know, the whole point of advanced scouting is to give the team that you work for an idea about what hitters' tendencies are, and that was certainly no surprise.
This guy doesn't look happy here.
That's Jimmy Williams,
Look
the
at that.
manager of the Boston Red Sox.
Now, you know, if you like wearing a hat, that he's unhappy the way he moved that hat. Pull the hat down tight on his dome. That means he's going to say something. He's going to get all over this young man.
As long as it's the cap he pulls and not the turtleneck. Williams, a pretty, you know, for a guy who's been somewhat of an anonymous sort over the years, to the extent that, you know, fans don't know a whole lot about him. He was a third base coach for a long time with the Braves, managed the Toronto Blue Jays, but he's kind of a wisecracking, I don't know, how would you describe him if not to say that he's one of those fun-loving, put-on type of guys who you never know for certain whether or not he's being straight with it.
Well, I think he's like that as a coach. I think as a manager, was considered a disciplinarian up in Toronto.
Oh, never mind the players. I'm talking to guys like us.
Well, yeah, he's got a nice sense of humor.
Olerud hits it hard, snagged by Valentin, and they complete the double play.
Well, Jimmy Williams must have said, get him to hit a line drive at Valentin, and we'll get a double play. Well, the ball was hit on the button. Watch Olerud smoked his ball right at Valentin. Keep in mind, Valentin was in on that meeting on the mound, so he was well aware of what Jimmy told him.
See the umpire there at second base, C.B. Buckner. Watch how close it, well, you can't see it there. It came close to shooting through his legs.
It was all one motion right there. Valentin catching the ball and flipping quickly to first base.
And Todd Hundley takes a strike at the knee.
I asked Todd, how important is it for you to know what this guy throws? He said it's not important at all. He said, let me get a look at a couple pitches.
Todd's one of the few Mets that I spoke to, and you might have heard the interview in our pregame show about interleague play, who had a real strong definitive opinion about it, and he's for it. Likes it, he's excited by it.
Oh, you got to be excited by this. What did Bill Veeck say was a great line about tradition? He said tradition is the albatross around the neck of progress. He was on the money. Bill Veeck would like this interleague play.
Might have happened a while sooner if he was still with us. 2-1, rip foul by Hunter.
Well, Todd said, let me get a look at a couple pitches. He got to look at a couple pitches. But, you know, we were talking earlier. It gives Boston fans, eventually they'll be up in Boston playing against the Red Sox, and they'll get an opportunity in the interleague play to see a Todd Hundley. Mets getting an opportunity to see Mo Vaughn and Nomar Garciaparra.
2-2 to Hundley with 2 out, nobody on. 1-0 New York. And Hundley out on strikes. The tag to finish the play applied by Scott Hatteberg. But Carl Everett hits the first pitch of the night to a New York Met out of the yard. That's why the Mets have the 1-0 lead.
Never thought much about retiring. Figured I'd know when the time was right.
We're gonna miss you, Ted.
36 years. I've seen a few changes. Today, we use things like ultrasound, magnetic imaging. Yeah, the tools have changed, but the job really hasn't. You see, we're not just responsible for these planes, but for the people who get on them as well. And I'm proud to say, for the past 36 years, I've been a small part of that.
Chase Better Banking. Easy because you get Chase Online Banking free and use it free. Chase, the right relationship is everything. Chase Better Banking. Easy because you can talk to someone 24 hours a day. Chase, the right relationship is everything.
The summer savings hotspot is Chrysler and Plymouth with 1,000 cash back on Plymouth Neon or low 3.9 financing. Get summer savings on Plymouth Neon at the Chrysler and Plymouth hotspot.
Over 10 years ago, they fought for the world title. Now, a decade later, it's time for the rematch. Mo Vaughn, Tim Wakefield, and the Boston Red Sox are coming to Shea Stadium for the first time since the '86 World Series. But to win, they're going to have to beat Todd Hundley, John Olerud, and the red-hot New York Mets. Don't miss the first interleague game in New York history, Mets versus Red Sox, June 13th through 15th. For tickets, call 718-507-TIXX. Bill Buckner is not in the yard, although his spirit will live on in this ballpark and in New York as far as Met fans are concerned forever. Buckner now, incidentally, the hitting coach with the Chicago White Sox. None of those players can relate to the events of October 25th, 1986.
No. I'll tell you what, the atmosphere was unbelievable here at Shea Stadium. It'd be nice to see that atmosphere come back. You never know. Of course, it's going to take a winning ball club to do it. The Red Sox are still... The Boston fans have not gotten over that World Series.
Tim Naring leads off for the Red Sox, takes outside for ball one. It'll be Naring, Scott Hatteberg, and John Valentin here in the second against Reed.
So this guy right here had an opportunity to sign for more money with the Cleveland Indians as a free agent and opted to come back to the Red Sox. The Indians wanted him to move to second base. He just felt more comfortable at third and wanted to play in Boston. He's a good player.
Fouls that one back. 2 balls and a strike on there.
He came up, played some shortstop, played some second base, then he moved to third base and found a home at third base. And he's a good hitter, as Howie mentioned. His stats, 283. He's got 8 home runs and 34 RBIs, and he can pick it at third base.
Yeah, he's an outstanding. In fact, he's the leader among American League third basemen in fielding percentage. Last year he hit 17 homers and drove in 65 runs. Got that one off the fists. And Baerga calls. 1 out here in the Boston second.
The Red Sox have a good 9 players. I mean, they can put nice 9 players in the field. What's been killing the Red Sox this year, pitching, especially the bullpen. But they need starting pitchers, they need relievers, but they have guys that can go out there every day and drive in some runs, hit some home runs, and play some defense.
Boston's pitchers thrown to a collective ERA of 5.16, and yet that's not the worst in the American League. 3 teams have higher earned run averages than the Boston Red Sox: the Twins, the Mariners, and the Oakland A's. Let's go look at this kid in spring training.
Yeah, they're trying to find an everyday catcher. Their catchers have been having some trouble throwing the ball. A lot of people feel
Olerud goes to the hole. Reed to the bag. 2 men away.
A lot of people feel that the Red Sox playing at Fenway Park have an advantage because of that left field wall. The wall's attractive, and hitters don't mind playing there. But the good thing about hitting in Boston is the background. Great background from that center field fence. Nice green background. This guy's taking full advantage of it. He has hit the ball in the screen. He's hit the ball in the center field bleachers, and he's hit the ball in the right field bleachers behind the bullpen in Boston. There's a guy who took advantage of it. I called one of his longest home runs.
Fouled back by John Valentin. How far did it go?
I'll tell you, Jim Busby was, I should say Steve Busby is pitching, and I threw him a low fastball. Jim Rice hit it, and I was catching. I looked up, I thought that ball might go into the center field bleachers. The ball went over the back wall. I mean, it was a mammoth shot, and I said to myself, you know what, you just called an excellent home run.
0-1 to Valentin, who played with Vaughn at Seton Hall University.
But he was a walk-on. Coach Shepard over there at Seton Hall doing a fine job with that college baseball team.
And that's it in the air to left field. Gilkey drifts back with plenty of room. And a couple of perfect innings for Rick Reed. And so in the middle of the second here at Shea, it's 1-0 Mets.
It was windy when I arrived in Chicago, but the ultimate goal still lay at gate 30, 10 minutes and 2 terminals away. So armed with my Samsonite Easy Card, I started the push to glory. My 4 wheels chewed up the yardage, through unyielding defenses that saw into Samsonite's very heart. Then breaking away, weaving through the secondary, and finally, victory.
The Jumbo and Carry-On Easy Cards with shelves and suitor from Samsonite, world-proof.
I'm Cal Ripken, and this is my nightmare. I'm driving to the ballpark to make my 10,000th consecutive start when all of a sudden...
The team is ready to take the field. Starting at third, number 65, Dan Bigelow? No!
This is when I figure out this couldn't be happening, because I use Fram filters, and you know how dependable they are. So I pinch myself and...
Oh, what a play by Mr. Dependable!
Fram filters, as dependable as the people who use them.
The Buick Classic is making history, and here's your chance to become a part of it. It's your special opportunity to own a car driven by a star. A limited edition of official Buick Classic cars, personally driven by a PGA Pro, are available now at tremendous savings, only at your tri-state Buick dealers. Get close to great golf. Own a car driven by a star. Hurry to your tri-state Buick dealer now and put one of these official Buick Classic cars in front of your house.
Tuesday night, watch the Mets and Yanks in a blowout interleague battle at Yankee Stadium. This Tuesday at 7:30 here on Sports Channel.
1-0 New York as we go to the last of the second inning. We'll get about 40,000 plus for sure here in the ballpark tonight. And when you compute the attendance figures, Fran, over the first couple of days now of interleague play, last night and tonight and today, they figure attendance is up about 35 to 40% over what it normally would be at this stage.
Yeah, it was a great idea, and the players are excited about it. I guess some of the players are traditionalists and they didn't want to see it come, but most of them are excited about interleague play.
Certainly there's a novelty aspect to it in the early going that'll boost attendance. Carlos Baerga looks at a fastball off the outside corner. And so if they maintain the type of schedule that they have right now, never mind the specific opponents, but the number of games, 15 or 16 as the fans continue to come in, then I think you will see a significant increase in attendance because it'll have that novelty feel to it.
Well, there are going to be some towns that aren't going to embrace it like New York. Let's face it. I mean, the Mets are starting off with the Red Sox, and then they're going to go over to the Bronx to play the Yankees. I mean, this city is very excited about interleague play. In Chicago, Mark Grace the other day told Matt Lachlan on the post-game show he was excited about it. Chicago was excited about it. But there are some towns that probably don't care.
Baerga rolls one to Valentin at second. And there's one man out here in the Mets second inning. Let's take a look at the Red Sox defense, brought to you by the new Dodge. Remember, no designated hitter in the National League parks, just as with the World Series. So tonight the Red Sox lose the bat of Reggie Jefferson. He's been the DH in 42 of the Boston Red Sox. First 63 games. Shane Mack is the one who is used rather sparingly, but he's in the lineup tonight in center field. Remember, Will Cordero not available to the Red Sox. Ball one to Matt Franco. We talked about what happened on the pregame show, where the problem at home with Cordero arrested on charges of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. Red Sox advising him to seek counseling. We'll touch more on that during the game as Franco bounces one into the Mets dugout. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, you can see Cordero in court on assault charge. Cops say Cordero beats his wife. And then I heard on television that his wife did not want to press charges. Now, Jimmy Williams really didn't want to talk about it before the ball game. I mean, he did try to handle it, but he also tried to avoid it.
1-2 to Franco. Williams just trying to keep the focus on the game without letting that become a distraction, but it will be a distraction because it's a significant problem. Cordero reportedly was sent to a counselor for unspecified personal problems during his Expos days. And Matt Franco skips one past Valentin. The Mets have their second base hit. 1-out single for Franco.
Well, we're seeing Bobby Valentine's philosophy from early in the year starting to pay off. He's tried to keep everybody in decent playing shape. Well, he's lost a couple shortstops as you look at Cookie Rojas flashing signs to Matt Franco, and Bobby has pretty much been able to keep players in decent shape. It's going to pay off because a number of them are down with injuries. Edgardo Alfonso not in the game tonight. You just saw Matt Franco with the base hit. Bobby will try to get Franco at bats as a starter, not only as a pinch hitter.
Well, Alex Ochoa is starting tonight with Husky bothered by a slight hamstring pull.
And let's face it, a lot of times managers, when the season starts, they say, well, I'm going to keep everybody in shape, but they don't. There's Husky. They have their 8 everyday players. Occasionally they're forced to use one of the backup players. Husky in right field. Now, he's out tonight. You get Ochoa, who should be in decent shape playing right field. You get Everett moving to center field, and he's in good shape because Bobby Valentine has played everybody.
That's Fred Hino with his back to you. He's the head trainer of the New York Mets, who's been awfully busy lately. His associate just cut in front of Fred is Scott Lawrenson. Nothing serious with Alfonso or Husky. Andy Alexander will be out about a month. Arthroscopic knee surgery. Over the glove of Garcia Parra. So Ochoa has the 3rd hit for the Mets. Franco pulls in at second. First and second, 1 out.
I think that part of Bobby's philosophy has been dictated to him by his playing days. He had been a starter. He had also been a backup player. So he knows as a backup player what it takes to stay in shape. And he has utilized his background in helping to build this Met Major League team.
Now, Luis Lopez will be the next batter. For the time being, he's the shortstop. Talked to Steve Phillips, the assistant GM, today. They're reluctant to move Alfonso to short when he comes back. Alfonso coming up through the system as a shortstop. And there is a chance they'll go outside the organization for some infield help.
Alfonso does take infield practice every day at shortstop. He said just to stay in shape at shortstop. It's a reaction position at third base. You don't move much, so he goes over and takes ground balls. But there's some pressure on this young man right here. He's got to catch the ball and throw it. And he's following in the footsteps of Ordonez and Alexander, 2 guys that could catch it and throw it.
And Pete Harnish back on a full-time basis with the ball club. Alfonso in the middle there. It's 1-0 on Lopez. Runners at first and second, 1 out. Red Sox infield at double play depth. Off speed upstairs. 2-0 on Lopez. That's getting Lopez in spring training. Tim Bogar sent to Houston. Lopez sent from San Diego to Houston during the spring. Garcia Parra and Valentin at double play depth at short and second respectively. Outfield shallow on Lopez. And he pops the ball up. Shane Mack, the center fielder, in short center. Has it for the second out. Lopez retired. Rick Reed will be the batter.
See a lot of your old colleagues here at the ballpark tonight. WFAN night here at Shea. You see Chris Russo and Mike Francesa. Steve Summers was downstairs tonight. Bill Daughtry here at the ballpark. Of course, Eddie Coleman's always here. There's Bob Murphy and Gary Cohn.
Describing the game over Sports Radio 66 WFAN. A happy anniversary to everybody connected with that radio station.
10 years. That's hard to believe, isn't it?
July 1st will be 10 years. So here's Reed with 2 on and 2 out. And a good stop by Hatteberg.
Hatteberg going out to talk to the right-hander. He's not happy. We've seen a couple guys go out to the mound tonight with an attitude. We saw Jimmy Williams. Now Hatteberg goes out there. Watch this. Here's the pitch. from Jeff Suppan, and he is crossed up. When you see a catcher in the major leagues try to catch a ball like this is a cross-up pitch.
The glove's the key, right?
He's looking for a breaking ball. He get a fastball. You just don't want to be catching Nolan Ryan and get crossed up.
And the spy cam look at the 1-0. And Reed fails to bunt. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That spy cam still brought to you by Chase?
Oh, it is now. Rick Reed has 4 hits this year.
There's Chase.
Ask and you shall receive.
That's right.
Outfield way around towards right field on Reed. And that's the way. 2 balls and a strike. Let's see if they're together on this.
Oh, they will be the rest of the game.
2-2 now to Reed.
Funny, after you get crossed up, when you start putting those signs down for the next few days, you leave them there. You know, get a good look at this.
That's the pitcher up. Tell him what's coming.
Keep it simple. Believe me.
You can tell the American League pitcher what's coming. It probably wouldn't make a difference. And the 2-2 just missed. Suppan staring at home plate umpire Ed Rapuano. He wanted that one.
When you tell a hitter what's coming, he's never going to believe it. I'm telling you, you see the look on their face.
Pitching coach Joe Kerrigan.
We're talking about a pitcher that's hitting. Tell him what's coming.
Payoff pitch to Reed. And he pops it fouling behind home plate.
One time in the minor leagues, our manager told me, there's Joe Kerrigan. He told me we got a young pitcher pitching today. I was an A-ball, so I was a kid also. He said, get him to throw his curveball. Well, I went out there, put down the curveball. He shook me off, kept shaking me off, and I yelled, I don't care. Throw the fastball. That hitter stepped out of the box.
Said, what's coming now?
This guy's kid.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Automatic start for the runners. Franco and Ochoa. They are off, and Reed's out. So the second strikeout for Suppan. 2 innings in the books here at Shea Stadium on the Modell scoreboard. 1-0 New York.
Now Manhattan can recycle large metal items like furniture and appliances. Check the brochure that you got in the mail for a new perspective on recycling.
Now Manhattan can recycle beverage cartons, small metal items, and appliances, in addition to aluminum, glass, and plastic. Check the brochure that you got in the mail for a new perspective on recycling.
From New York One News, this is a New York One community cause.
The Brooklyn Public Library is celebrating 100 years of serving the people of Brooklyn. In 1897, the library opened in what is now the Bedford-Stuyvesant part of Brooklyn. By 1900, almost 24 branches were added. Today, the Brooklyn Public Library has over 50 branches, and the mission is the same, to serve the community with information resources as Brooklyn residents prepare for the next century. New York One salutes the Brooklyn Public Library during this centennial year.
The New York Health and Racquet Club announces the opening of its 9th location, HRC Spa at 57th Street and Park Avenue. Membership includes first-class amenities such as rooftop swimming pool, outdoor sun deck, state-of-the-art exercise equipment, classes and more. After your workout, relax and enjoy a full selection of luxurious spa services, followed by light spa cuisine in our restaurant. The New York Health and Racquet Club. Join one, enjoy them all.
Cash back on Plymouth Neon Orlo 3.9 financing. Get summer savings on Plymouth Neon at the Chrysler and Plymouth Hotspot.
Well, Jeff Suppan, the starting pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, coming into the dugout between innings. And he has a conversation with the young catcher for the Red Sox, Scott Hatteberg. And Scott's saying, listen, you cross me up one more time. Look at me. He's saying, you know, these signs are simple. No, wait. Well, no, I'm not taking that. They're tough. Now they're simple signs. And let's take a look now at our GHI Health Insurance Broker of the Day. It's Mark Dorfman of Lynbrook. Contact the GHI broker for all your health insurance needs. And I'll tell you what, Mark, keep watching this ball game, because if Suppan crosses Hatteberg up one more time. He might need some health insurance.
Troy O'Leary stepping in to lead off the Boston third. Reed has retired all 6 batters he faced. That wasn't a subliminal message we threw across the screen there. No, it was just the interleague logo. Major League Baseball has adopted an official logo for interleague play, but that's kind of neat.
Oh yeah, right across the screen.
Subliminal message there. No balls and 2 strikes to O'Leary. Troy O'Leary coming to the Boston Red Sox from the Milwaukee Brewers back in '95. They claimed him early in the season on waivers. Played full-time last year for him. Drove in 81 runs with 15 homers. 0-2 on O'Leary. And there's Brett Saberhagen. I had a chance to chat with Saberhagen before the game tonight. He's now throwing every 4th day, pitching 3 simulated innings.
He's having a chat right now with John Franco.
Brett trying to revive his career after arm problems. And O'Leary hits one hard to right. But Ochoa's got it, 1 away.
The amazing thing about Brett Saberhagen throughout his career, even when he was highly successful with the Royals, his arm was never real strong. It's a shame. You wonder how good he could have been. There they are. Brett Saberhagen on the right, John Franco on the left. They were buddies here in New York.
Brett still has a house out on Long Island. On off days, he'll occasionally come back to New York, hang out here. Shane Mack, pretty familiar with Saberhagen. Never mind Rick Reed. Reed throws a strike to Mack. I was telling you about Saberhagen throwing those simulated games. Well, that means simply that you just put a batter in the batter's box. He doesn't swing a bat or anything. You just want the feel of pitching to a live batter. He hit Mack. Mack hits one weakly to third, and Franco just does throw him out. Reed got in on the hands of Shane Mack, 2 men away.
Now, sometimes they'll have a game where a pitcher's getting himself in shape and they are swinging the bats. If you're one of those hitters, if you're volunteering for it, that's great for a team. Most guys don't volunteer for those games.
So Jeff Suppan making his first major league appearance as a hitter. This is the biggest, most significant thing about interleague play. It is a distinct disadvantage to the American League teams when they come into the National League parks and have to take a hitter out of their lineup. Tough luck, boys. This is real baseball here in the National League.
I don't know if it's going to have that much of an impact because the National League hitters, how proficient are they at the plate?
Well, let's see what Suppan does here. Suppan, he takes a strike from Rick Reed.
What did Rick Reed do?
Well, you know what, though? It certainly makes sense statistically to say, well, the pitchers don't contribute. But Reed drove in runs in a couple of occasions with extra base hits against the Cincinnati Reds. So on those at-bats, you would see some value to
That'll be a pretty good stat to follow throughout interleague play. There's no DH tonight, so Jefferson not in the game, Stanley not in the game.
Jefferson could play the outfield. Jimmy Williams just didn't want to use him there tonight. Off the outside corner. So Rick Reed, who's retired the first 8, has fallen behind the Boston/American League hitting pitcher. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And he hits it hard the other way, but Ochoa's right there. Well, did they give Suppan the ball? He hit it in play. Meantime, Reed's retired all 9 that he's faced. And on the Modell's board, it's 1-0 Mets.
You'll find it easy to get to.
But very hard to leave. It's the Mohegan Sun way.
We keep the line short and the action non-stop. It's the Mohegan Sun way.
Everybody wins at these tables. It's the Mohegan Sun way.
We'll make every visit one you'll remember. It's the Mohegan Sun way.
2 minutes off $3.95. Light years from any place you've ever been. Come experience.
The Mohegan Sun way.
A Lube Express drive-through lube center offers consumers a full-service oil change in just 10 minutes, and no appointment is ever needed. Your Lube Express technicians are fully certified to ensure your complete satisfaction. In just 10 minutes, Lube Express will change your oil and filter, grease the entire chassis, top up all fluids, plus perform these other valuable services. Remember, all work at Lube Express is 100% warranty approved.
Visit the Lube Express store in your area at Bergenfield, Cedar Grove, Edison, Greenbrook, Phillipsburg, and South Plainfield.
Well, home runs will never be as important than they will be during this week, Father's Day week, tonight, June 13th through June 18th. Now, Carl Everett hit one in the first inning, and it comes on the first night of the Kemp Cure Home Run Challenge. Kemp Cure is the Association for the Cure of Cancer of the Prostate, and they're committed to finding a cure for a disease that 1 in 5 Americans is at risk of developing in his lifetime. And so each home run hit tonight and in 56 selected interleague games played through June 18th will mean a staggering sum of $50,000 will go directly to prostate cancer research. So Carl Everett helped donate $50,000 to that very, very special cause with his first inning home run.
And he just missed the fastball right there. Suppan coming back with a fastball. A lot of times the pitcher gives up a home run on a certain pitch, and when he faces that batter the rest of the game, he never throws the pitch again.
And the 0-1 to Everett. Off speed, strike 2. Everett had a good road trip offensively. Had 7 out of 16 in the 5 games the Mets played in Cincinnati and Chicago, winning 2, losing 3. And that is off the outside corner.
We might see Lance Johnson shortly. He said tonight in the clubhouse his shin splints, feeling almost completely better.
Hit hard by Everett. Bragg makes the catch. Bragg took a step back, a little late breaking in, finally came up with it for the first out.
Yeah, he made the catch. It wasn't pretty, but he made the catch. But Carl Everett, as you mentioned, how he's starting to come on. Lance Johnson on his way back. Keep in mind, Bobby Valentine so far has been able to keep all of his players happy. If it's not happy, I guess it's quiet.
Well, the thing of it is, nobody is buried on the Mets bench.
And it's because of his background as a player.
Bernard Gilkey takes a strike on the outside corner.
Bobby Valentine wants all his players, all 25, to feel part of the ball club. That's a nice philosophy.
And it's a little easier to do in the National League as Gilkey looks at a breaking ball for strike 2 because the double switch is prevalent. So you can bring people into the game, get them an inning or 2 for defense, or simply in a double switch when you have to take a pitcher out, keep them fresh that way. Something that's not necessary in the American League.
But Bobby's not afraid to make those moves. A lot of managers are. A lot of managers are playing from the first pitch to the last pitch with their 8 starters.
Inside, 2-2 to Gilkey.
I mentioned earlier, Suppan has a fastball, overhand curveball, and he changes off that fastball. Like anybody else, when he doesn't have the curveball consistently thrown over the plate, he's not going to be effective.
Good breaking ball. And the third strikeout for the 22-year-old Jeff Suppan. 2
You
away.
see more and more pitchers going back to the overhand curveball. A lot of pitchers got away from this because mechanically it's tough to master, but that's a nasty pitch right there. A lot of times you see that real good curveball, and when it's real good, it breaks right out of the strike zone.
So he's retired 4 in a row now. Gilkey out on strikes. Olerud lined into that double play in the first inning with Gilkey trapped off first base.
I'll tell you one thing, these pitchers for the Red Sox have to like Shea Stadium, especially when they're pitching against a right-handed hitter as opposed to Fenway Park.
Those numbers built in the American League. With John playing for the Toronto Blue Jays. 1 ball, 1 strike. Olerud had the 3-run home run at Wrigley Field on Wednesday that brought the Mets back out of a 4-1 hole into a 4-4 tie, but McMichael's wild pitch through the 5-hole on Hundley in the 8th inning brought the winning run home for the Cubs. Vaughn backs up, throws out Suppan, the side retired, or at least throws to Suppan to get Olerud. 3 in the books. 1-0, New York.
The summer savings hotspot is Chrysler and Plymouth with 1,000 cash back on Plymouth Neon or low 3.9 financing. Get summer savings on Plymouth Neon at the Chrysler and Plymouth hotspot.
In a lot of ways, this is a new TWA.
On time, reliable, and great service.
We have a new commitment.
We're really hustling out there.
It's going to be an on-time airline if I have anything to do about it.
We've been posting better performance every month.
30 brand new state-of-the-art aircraft.
It's becoming a younger fleet with a lot of very experienced people.
We're going to take good care of you.
This is our airline. We want it to be your airline.
We got to earn our customers every day. We try to do that on every flight.
TWA, Trans World Airlines.
We want to be your airline.
At Nobody Beats the Wiz, we know Father's Day sales like nobody else. Every 27-inch TV, hi-fi VCR, surround sound home theater system, portable and car CD player on sale. Plus all 900 megahertz phones, fax machines, printers, and organizers. And save on camcorders, cameras, and computers. Buy 2 Polygram Soundsaver CDs, get 1 free. Plus we have great financing plans from Sony, Mitsubishi, and ProScan. You'll love it, Dad'll love it. Nobody knows a Father's Day sale like Nobody Beats the Wiz.
We know.
Introducing the 1997 Lexus LS400 Coach Edition. The streets are ready. Are you? Save $3,000 on the Coach Edition at your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Lexus dealer.
Half Moon Day. Ever hear that song from Mott the Hoople? Well, you got a half moon here at Shea Stadium. The Mets leading the Red Sox 1-0 as we go to the 4th. And the Mets in the pack with Florida and Montreal for that wild card spot behind the Atlanta Braves.
Can't shake Montreal, can they? And they have been able to pass Florida. Now, it's funny when you look at the scoreboard tonight here at Shea Stadium to see how these different teams are doing. You're seeing American League teams up there against the National League teams. It's unusual, isn't it?
It's different. You got to look a little extra hard to find certain teams, but you'll find them soon enough. There's Nomar Garcia-Parra takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Well, Nomar Garcia-Parra as a shortstop is real good because of his feet and because of his hands. He's very active at the plate with those feet and hands.
Lopez throws out Garcia-Parra.
You see
10 in a row now, sorry, Frank, for Rick Reed.
See a lot of activity with his feet and his hands at the plate, but he's known as a defensive player because of quick feet and quick hands. So he's always in motion, not only defensively with those feet and hands, but also offensively. They say if he has a problem as time goes on, he might have to shorten his swing.
Call him Spider-Man.
So far, he's been successful, and he's become a popular player at Fenway Park.
Darren Bragg was caught looking his first time up, and he looks at a strike on the outside corner. Bragg and Rico go back a ways. Rico, of course, now the Philadelphia Phillies.
Pretty good high school team there in Watertown, Connecticut.
Bouncing ball, foul, 0-2.
Well, we talked about Rick Reed in the past. When he's effective, usually he's getting a lot of ground balls, but even the line drives and the fly balls have been caught tonight. Reed told me this year the difference between him this year and years gone by is concentration. He doesn't lose it.
Right here, he's ahead 0-2 on Bragg with 1 out, nobody on in the 4th. A chopper that's snagged by Franco. 2 men away.
So 2 ground balls right there. Rick Reed getting that ground ball. And now he's got a pitch to Mo Vaughn. I talked to Mo Vaughn about Rick Reed before the game, and he said he knows that Reed will want to bust him inside. He said allow the pitchers to try to bust him inside. If he goes away from him, he said I can hit that ball over that left field fence here at Shea.
He's got the power to do that. Keep an eye also on Vaughn's left knee. He left the game against the Orioles on Wednesday at Fenway Park because that knee locked during an awkward swing.
There's that pitch away, and Reed goes away, away, away. A guy like Vaughn, now Vaughn's aware of this pitch away. Take a look at the swing.
Might have looked a little uncomfortable there. He's had torn cartilage in that knee for a while. Had surgery 3 years ago. And Oru to Reed, who's been something of a surgeon himself tonight. Perfect through 4. We're not going to start that this early, are we?
Sure.
But why not? 1-0, New York.
At Chase, the leading bank for business, your company is in good company, like D'Agostino's, a member of Tom Seaver's Business Hall of Fame. Chase, the right relationship is everything.
Neither rain nor mud, nor ruts and ridges, nor rocks and rivers, nor sleet nor snow shall keep a new Toyota 4Runner from keeping you from your appointed rounds. Power you need, and all the room and comfort you want. And with a starting price around $20,000, it could take your dollar even further.
The biggest misperception about being a jockey is that you have to be a male, and that we're supposed to be little. I think the most important asset for a jockey is to be a good thinker. The perfect race for me is to break clean, get a good position just off the speed. Then when you swing out, you just ask your horse and you open up 5 on the field.
New York Thoroughbred Racing at Belmont Park. The most exciting ride in sports.
I'm 5'6", I'm a woman. They bet on me every time.
This Saturday, June 14th, the Red Hot Mets continue their interleague series against the Boston Red Sox. And all kids 14 and under get a free pair of gym shorts. Compliments of Tropicana and ShopRite. Call 718-507-TIXX and get your Mets.
Well, Sports Channel would like to salute Hempstead Auto of Hempstead, New York, as the Sports Channel New York Mets Jaguar Dealer of the Day. See Hempstead Auto for details on Jaguar's new XK8 or new Jaguar sedans.
So we go to the home fourth. Todd Hundley, Carlos Baerga, and Matt Franco.
Okay, Howie, I consider you a genius.
Now that woman's a genius there. That's Lara Cohen, president of Todd's fan club.
She does a nice job, but I'm going to tell you, I know you were against this interleague play, but look at this place.
Well, you know what? It's not even so much the number of people that are here. It's the amount of discussion, and basically positive discussion, bordering on sheer excitement that it's generated. The idea is to give the game a lift, and it's clearly doing that, so how could you be opposed to anything that ultimately is good for baseball? Pop foul by Hundley, 1-1. Funny thing about Todd Hundley now, remember, not that you would know this offhand, he was born in 1969 when his dad Randy was catching for the Cubs. The summer of '69, not a very friendly one for the Chicago Cubs as it pertains specifically to the New York Mets. Deep to right center. Back goes back, but he can forget it. Todd Hundley with his 15th of the year. It's 2-0 Mets.
Well, what a hitter he's turned into. Every time he swings the bat, there's a chance he's going to hit the ball over that wall.
Well, you know, I asked him before the game. I said, now, come clean with me. Because of what happened in '69 between the Mets and Cubs, your dad's team, you weren't drafted by the Mets till '87. So fess up, Todd. You were pulling for the Red Sox in the '86 series, right? He said, no, I promise. Trust me. No. He was rooting for the Mets all the way. Now he helps the Mets go ahead of the Red Sox as Baerga pops up to Garcia Parra for the first out.
And how about our Discovery Channel replay? This is a replay that Todd would like, and Randy Hundley, a fine catch with the Chicago Cubs, and we saw the other day in Wrigley. Ball out over the plate, and Todd smokes it. Great shot of Todd's head right down on the ball. And he hits it over the right center field fence, over the gap sign. And how about those '69 world champions, the Mets beating Randy Hundley? We saw Ronnie Sando. We saw Billy Williams in Chicago the other day. They all pulling for Todd.
And Franco takes inside. Did you shake hands with Randy?
Oh, he's strong as an axe.
Never mind that. It took 10 minutes to get them apart. My hand and Randy's
let me tell you, I'll tell you, Randy Hundley did so much for catchers in baseball. It's unbelievable. He was the first one-handed catcher.
On the ground, the first, gobbled up by Vaughn. Franco retired, 2 men away.
Yeah, Randy Hundley was the first guy to have the intestinal fortitude, or as you would say, the guts, to catch one-handed.
Is that the word I'd use? Well, listen, he's not here, so I could say that at first looked rather odd to a fan at home watching a catcher tuck the glove or tuck his bare hand behind his back. Johnny Bench, of course, did it also.
It saved your fingers, believe me.
Still got his mangled somehow. Alex Ochoa takes a strike, but he caught, Randy Hundley did, 160 games a year.
Oh, yeah,
that's nuts. He did it all those day games in Chicago.
Yeah, and he, I noticed you insulted him after he left the booth the other day, bunting against Tom Seaver and then no-hitter.
Yeah, trying to break up Seaver's perfect game in the 9th inning in July of '69. Wonder if it's too early to start thinking about one of the Red Sox trying to pull that nonsense tonight. There's Tom Terrific's number. Rick Reed, perfect through 4, and Ochoa shoots one towards the gap. This one rolling towards the wall. Mack can't come up with it cleanly, but Ochoa will stay at second. Alex Ochoa now 2 for 2.
And once again, we're seeing what Bobby Valentine decided early in the year. Keep these guys in shape. Ochoa getting some playing time. He has 2 hits in tonight's ball game. And Suppan throwing this pitch to Alex Ochoa. Fastball out over the plate. Ochoa scalding the ball into the gap. But again, Bobby Valentine keeping the players in shape on the Met Ball Club. Ochoa hitting the ball hard into the gap in left field. Now that philosophy paying off for Bobby.
Well, the Boston Red Sox just want to get out of this inning unscathed any further anyway after Hundley's home run. So Luis Lopez will be walked. Lopez 1 out of 9 as a Met. With first base open, Jimmy Williams says, you know what, give me the pitcher. And so they'll finish the walk to Lopez, and Rick Reed will get a shot.
Okay, now you talked about pitchers hitting before. So would you say because Rick Reed has had some at-bats, he would be more proficient with the bat in his hand than Suppan?
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, Reed has had a couple of RBI doubles against the Reds this year. He's only had 4 hits, but he's got 3 doubles out of those 4 hits. He's driven in a couple of runs with a strikeout tonight. He's 4 for 25. It's no big deal statistically, but the potential is there. But you know, the ramifications of having the pitcher hit in this case, at the very worst, it clears the pitcher, and the Mets can go to the top of the order next inning if Reed is retired here.
You answered that question, and then you had an out. I like that. We're going to clear the pitcher.
No, listen, well, yeah, but again, with the pitcher hitting, you have the opportunity to do that. At least you do a lot easier or a lot sooner than you would necessarily in the American League when you got to figure their 9-hitter is going to be someone you may not necessarily be as eager to pitch to as a guy like Rick Reed.
Let me tell you, if he gets a hit right here, my respect for you jumps right over the moon.
From 0 to 0.1. Well, he put it in the hole, but it's snagged by Valentin. Well, a little bit of respect anyway, I guess.
That's right.
But the Mets add a run. Don't pull too tight, Todd. The home run by Hundley doubles the Mets' pleasure.
Something new has come to New York. MetroCard Gold. Now you can use it to pay your fare at all subway stations and on all buses. And starting July 4th, you can also use it to transfer from subways to buses and from buses to subways free. That's right, free. We thought you'd like to hear that. MetroCard Gold, the beginning of a whole new transit system. MTA, going your way.
This was you at 17, confident, with a full head of hair. This is you now. And this is what your hair could be with Men's Hair Now, looking like it did before you lost it. Men's Hair Now is now MHN Hair Studio. Call us at 1-800-MHN-9595. We guarantee you a hairline that looks like your own growing hair. And no one will ever know. It's that real. So if this is your hair now, call 1-800-MHN-9595. MHN Hair Studio, what your hair could be.
Hi, I'm Craig Kilborn, host of your Daily Show, where every day we tackle the burning questions, like how do you define class? Yeah. Can celebrities really move stuff with their minds? And where do you place the salad fork when setting a small child? We're Soft News with a hard edge and so much more. The Daily Show, Monday through Thursday nights at 7 and 11 here at Comedy Central.
Streaks, the homers, the shutouts, and the saves. Follow the best in baseball this season. Penn and Chase, Thursdays at 5:30 on Sports Channel.
The 2 runs, the product of dingers. Leadoff job by Everett in the first. Hundley leading off the 4th.
Now, okay, when you were a kid, you spent a lot of time there? Or did you watch the whole game?
I was in the cheap seats, buddy. You see those red seats up there? Well, the entire, if you could hold that shot for 1 second, I'll show you how things have changed here over the years. When the Mets started to win in 1969, that whole upper deck, with the exception of about the first, 5 or 6 rows where there are box seats, the entire upper deck was unreserved, general admission seats. And the tradition my buddies and I had in those days, we'd take the Q27 from Springfield Boulevard and 73rd Avenue in Bayside to Main Street Flushing, save the 20 cents or a quarter for the subway by walking across the Roosevelt Avenue Bridge, and armed with a couple of salami sandwiches and some Twinkies, go upstairs, get in here. See that cost money. We weren't spending the money. We'd walk across the bridge, general admission seats upstairs, and don't you forget that either. And we considered those seats in section 1 right behind the plate our seats.
Now be honest, did you sneak downstairs and get better seats as the game went on?
We tried. Jim Naring taking for a ball, and every once in a while succeeded. Naring popped to second in the second inning for Boston. Rick Reed has retired all 12 that he's faced. Another good curveball, 1-1.
Boy, Reed has been unbelievable so far tonight. Painting the corners.
Another hook. Lopez charges. Naring will sit, 1 man out.
Another hook, another ground ball.
There have been 3 outs recorded by Reed to the outfield. Valentin, O'Leary, and Suppan have flied out. He's also struck out 1. He popped up Naring his first time up. The other outs recorded on the ground.
Some hitters, not all hitters, need to have a book on a pitcher. But there are other hitters that go up as you look at Bob Apodaca. Other hitters go up and just look for the baseball. For example, Todd Hundley tonight telling me before the game, I don't care about knowing what this guy throws. I'll find out myself after I see a couple pitches.
Well, was it Ted Williams, the greatest Red Sox hitter of them all, and maybe the greatest hitter in baseball history, who said he could read the rotation, he could actually see the ball hit the bat? That sounds pretty hard to believe, but how do you doubt the word of Ted Williams?
That's right.
Another breaking ball, 1-1 to Hedberg.
I guess that when you're that good in swinging the bat, you can just make stuff up. I mean, I'm not saying he made it up, but I mean, if you did, people believe it.
And the 1-1, a chopper up the middle, and there goes the perfect game. Such as it was, 4 1/3 innings.
And a ground ball. And the fans giving Rick Reed a round of applause here for the way he's pitched tonight and the way he's pitched prior to tonight.
Reed making his 12th start. It's his 14th game. He's only won 1 of his last 7 starts. The Mets have won 3 of those 7 games. Reed's last time out was last weekend in Cincinnati, a week ago tonight, in fact, when he was the losing pitcher. And the Reds won 5-2. He went 6 innings and gave up 9 hits. But look how he's been ahead of the hitters here.
Absolutely. Strike, 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 strike.
Breaking ball strike. Missed by Valentin. Now, John Valentin in spring training was told by Jimmy Williams, you're the second baseman rather than the shortstop. He didn't like that, and he really moaned about it.
He went home. He said, I'm taking my bat and I'm going home.
Never understood that.
Well, you know, they should have, in my opinion, they should have told, they knew that kid, Nomar Garciaparra, was going to play shortstop this year.
And Valentin had to know it before spring training.
But tell him before spring training.
1 ball, 1 strike.
It's clear that Nomar Garciaparra is an outstanding defensive shortstop. Valentin was not. They were hoping Valentin would make a smooth transition to second base and bring his bat with him.
But I mean, you know, am I extolling antiquated virtues when I say when the manager says you're better off playing second base, the team is better off at second. Play second and deal with it.
Antiquated.
Well, you know what? That's unfortunate.
Well,
That's
you're
really
right,
unfortunate.
but you know the game has changed tremendously. Lou Piniella told me that one day when he was managing in Cincinnati, he said, you know, when we played, we didn't go in the manager's office. He said, I have 6, 7, 8 meetings before the game with the players.
Probably more with their agents, too.
Right. Oh, and the agents have an impact.
And Valentin, a good hitter. He's only hit .250 so far this year, and he's played a good second base. It's 2-2.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the player expecting the manager to talk to him about what he's doing. But why not tell Valentin in the month of January or December, listen, this is what I'm thinking of doing.
The 2-2 to Valentin inside. Well, don't forget also last year, Garcia Parra had knee problems. He tore a tendon in his knee last year. So he played less than half the season. And maybe they just wanted to be sure of his knee when they got to spring training, because clearly he'd been groomed as the Red Sox shortstop of the future.
I'll guarantee you they knew his knee was all right before spring training. For some reason, they just didn't want to tell Valentin about the move. Valentin has been a proficient offensive shortstop for the Red Sox. That's nice, but if they can get a defensive shortstop that can also hit, he's going to be out there.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. The runner going, the pitch bounced foul outside third, so Hatteberg will come back to first. See, the problem for Jimmy Williams when Valentin walked out of camp is that it divided the ball club. And, you know, here's a manager who's taking over a new job, is trying to get off on the right foot with all of his players. Yeah. And now the camp's somewhat divided. You had a Valentin camp, and you had people that weren't that upset about it.
There's also the ball club has been dealing with turmoil for a little while. Roger Clemens was allowed to move to the Toronto Blue Jays. Mo Vaughn was outspoken about it.
Against Dan Duquette, the GM specifically.
And, you know, in my opinion, I mean, we're not inside in Boston, but that was not a unilateral decision by Dan Duquette. I'm sure it had to be discussed by a committee of people.
Again, Hatteberg running, and again, Valentin fouls it off into the Red Sox dugout this time.
I mean, it's the same thing when you talked about Grant trading Tom Seaver away. Well, maybe it was his decision alone, but I'm sure he had a discussion with some people.
Well, as M. Donald Grant once said when he was told you can't trade the franchise, Mrs. Payson and I are the franchise. So when you're at that level, if you want to trade the player, you trade him. You don't have to ask. Again, Hatteberg on the move, and Valentin hits it deep to left field. Is it fair? It is, and it's gone. A 2-run homer for John Valentin, and the Red Sox have tied it at 2. And there are a contingent of Red Sox fans who have made the trip from Boston. That's what the applause is about in the background. And maybe some Seton Hall fans in the joint, too.
Sure. Mineola, Long Island, he was a walk-on at Seton Hall. Had a fine career at Seton Hall and become very popular in Boston. Now as a second baseman. And by the way, he is just starting to hit for the Red Sox this year. Not tonight, but just recently.
Troy O'Leary takes a strike. So brand new ball game now. And see, Valentin hit the home run while playing second base. His mind was clear. He didn't need to walk out of camp to prove that point. Fouled back to the screen, nothing in 2.
Early in the year, Garcia Parra got off to a terrific start, and Valentin applauded his ability. You know, you got to keep in mind that these guys in the major leagues are extremely competitive as far as their skills are concerned, and they don't want somebody telling them that somebody else is better. I mean, it's natural. He feels he's better than Garcia Parra at shortstop.
Well, you know, you hit on a real interesting point, because those 99.9% of us who never played anything professionally, as O'Leary takes the pitch inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes, cannot possibly relate, at least in my opinion, to what has to be the innate competitiveness of the professional athlete. Now, how do you channel that off the field? You're away from that. You don't play now. Outside, full count. I mean, I'm
driving along Island Expressway. Let me tell you something.
You're lucky. You move.
Valentin, keep in mind his history. He was a walk-in at Seton Hall. You know how tough it was to battle and make that club. This guy's a battler. No doubt about it.
That's hit hard to right field. Chasing Ochoa back, and that's a gunner. Troy O'Leary goes deep, so Reed surrenders back-to-back homers to Valentin and O'Leary, and the Red Sox lead it 3-2.
Oh, they'll bring Bob Apodaca out of the Met dugout right now. Rick Reed is backpedaling. He was very aggressive. He was hitting the corners, made a couple bad pitches. He's not overpowering. When you're not overpowering and you make a couple of bad pitches, this is what happens. Here's John Valentin, and Rick Reed gets the ball out over the plate in his wheelhouse. Valentin drives it over the wall. And now take a look. Here's O'Leary facing Reed. Well, I'll tell you, O'Leary reached out, drove that ball a long way with a reach-out swing. Didn't have a real good swing at that ball. He get the head of the bat on it, and the ball jumped over the wall.
So O'Leary with a home run, Valentin with a home run, and you also have to give Valentin a lot of credit because there were several good pitches that Reed made on 3 and 2 with Hatterberg running that Valentin fouled off, staying alive long enough to get a high fastball from Reed. Fouled back here by Shane Mack, 0-1. We're talking about Valentin's unhappiness at being shifted from shortstop to second base during spring training. Shane Mack, who's back from Japan this year, recently asked for a trade. Just flied out to Ochoa for the second out.
Well, they said Shane Mack came back from Japan. Now, if you remember Shane Mack when he was in Minnesota, I mean, he was in great shape. When he came back from Japan, he had put on a lot of weight. Clearly not enjoying the sushi over there, because I don't think you put weight on eating that, do you?
Well, I don't know, not unless you get the deluxe sushi. That's something I haven't gone near. Suppan looks at a strike from Reed, 0-1.
But it hurt him when he came back. He put on some weight and hurt him. Now here's Rick Reed, first 4 innings on the money with his pitches. 5th inning, struggling obviously.
And this inning all started with that little 16 hopper up the middle by Hatterberg for a 1-out single. One and 2 to Suppan.
Well, Suppan didn't have a real good swing at that curveball. Is there any reason in the world why Rick Reed wouldn't throw a curveball here?
Might have given him a hook. And he did. And the inning's over. But the Red Sox used the home run ball to take the lead. Valentin's home run tied it. O'Leary's put the Red Sox in front on the Modell scoreboard. 3-2, Boston.
It's time for the Jeep National Sales Event. And what event would be complete without the usual smiling faces? Cool refreshments, colorful decorations, and of course great values, like this $339 a month lease on Jeep Grand Cherokee. With 4-wheel drive and 185 horsepower, it's capable of just about anything. It's at the Jeep National Sales Event, going on now with all the usual fanfare, not to mention a few balloons. Check out this $339 lease at your dealer.
I don't know. Never thought much about retiring. Figured I'd know when the time was right.
We're gonna miss you, Ted.
36 years. Started on DC-6s. Pretty much everything you needed to work on one, you found in a toolbox. Today, we use ultrasounds to check for microscopic voids. Use X-rays, boroscopes, magnetic imaging. Yeah, the tools have changed, but the job really hasn't.
Need to look at this.
Ask anybody out here. They'll tell you. We're not just responsible for these planes. We're responsible for the people who get on them as well. That's the way it's always been. I'm proud to say for the past 36 years, I've been a small part of that.
Way to go, Ted.
Promotional consideration is provided by Armatron Instalight. Instalight the night with Armatron All-Sport Instalight Night Vision Collection. Sizes and styles for men and women featuring superb Armatron quality and outstanding value. Look for Armatron at America's top retailers across the country.
Well, all of the scoring has been accounted for by home runs, and the good news about that, there have now been 4 home runs hit in this ball game, 2 by each team, so already $200,000 have been raised tonight in the Capcure Home Run Challenge. Each home run hit tonight and in 56 selected interleague games between now and June 18th mean that $50,000 go directly to prostate cancer research, with Capcure expecting to raise between $4 and $5 million through this joint venture with participating Major League Baseball teams. So we couldn't have a better week for a lot of guys to go deep. And Carl Everett did on the very first pitch that Jeff Suppan threw in the first inning. Mets trail for the first time tonight, 3-2 Boston, and a ball downstairs to Everett. We're at the top of the order. Everett, Gilkey, and Olerud against Suppan. He'll ring the bell of Hatterberg.
Hatterberg was upset about being crossed up before, and then he takes that bouncer right in the mask.
That's the one thing that you and your innate competitive juices don't miss.
No,
right?
oh, absolutely not. No. You know what? If we liked it that much, we'd have caught batting practice. You don't see any catches catching BP.
Hit hard by Everett, but gobbled up by Vaughn. And I'll tell you what, Mo Vaughn took that for granted defensively, and Everett did not. I mean, Vaughn, just watch how Vaughn just trots to the bag and how Everett tears down the first baseline.
Mo likes to style. Ball hit hard. Mo gloves it. Head down. Look at this.
Everett's coming hard here. I mean, Vaughn just took it for granted, period.
Yeah, Mo's a styler. When I had an opportunity to talk to Mo before the ball game, you can see that very serious young man, but he can style. Sometimes if you style and you can beat the first base, you're in trouble.
Downstairs to Gilkey, 1-0. Well, the irony about the Bill Buckner play with Mookie Wilson batting that everybody's talking about tonight is that if Buckner fields it cleanly, I'll bet you Mookie still beats Bob Stanley, the pitcher, to the bat.
Yeah.
Don't think the Boston Red Sox aren't aware of that man. You know what happened earlier tonight? A couple of innings ago, Red Sox are throwing the ball around the infield with the Mets coming up, and Tim Naring, the third baseman, almost killed Mookie. It went right at his head. He had a duck. Up the middle, base hit for Gilkey. So the Mets get their sixth hit of the night, a one-out single by Gilkey. I mean, Mookie, you know, he's not paying all that close attention, and Naring fires the ball to first base. It went way over Vaughn's head. Mookie saw it at the last second, and he had to get out of the way.
Yeah, but I don't think he was doing it on purpose.
Who, Naring?
Naring.
I don't know. He could have been under orders.
Now, this poor guy, Bill Buckner, they got to forget him up in Boston. I mean, he had to move his family out of New England because of that ground ball. And you know, it's funny, when he stayed in the game that night, I thought, this is a real gamer. Both his ankles are bothering him.
Tell that to the fans who continue to yell at John McNamara 11 years after the fact. And a good stop there by Hatterberg. You realize that if Rich Gedman had done that with Mookie up, we might not be celebrating anything.
Well, you know, Rich Gedman was a fine player for the Red Sox, but he should have caught that ball. Not many people talk about that. Now, this is a nice play here.
I mean, that's similar to the wild pitch of Mookie up.
And Gedman, as I mentioned, did a fine job with the Red Sox, but nobody mentions that he should come up with that ball.
1 ball, no strikes on Olerud, 1 out. Gilkey, the runner at first, the infield set up for 2. Spade shows the baseball to Bernard Gilkey. You know, maybe it's because Chris Russo's in the ballpark, and maybe it's just because we haven't seen Jeff Suppan very often. Maybe I'm just goofy, but how many ways have I mangled his name tonight? It's a name I'm just not yet used to saying, and it's not coming out right all the time.
Well, I have to ask you a question. Why are you getting at Chris Russo about it?
Well, because if anybody can butcher a name, it's Mr. Russo. It is Suppan, so we've been told.
By Jerry Remy, who does some broadcasting for the Boston Red Sox.
I'm having trouble enough with the Jeff. Hit deep and down the line. Foul ball.
Ball just a little bit too far inside, and the swing that John Olerud put on that ball, he cannot keep that ball fair.
Olerud 0 for 2 so far tonight, trying to extend a 6-game hitting streak. Showed you earlier, he's hit about .333 for the course of his career against the Boston Red Sox. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Gilkey just does get back.
Suppan with a good move to first base. Gilkey diving back. Mo made the catch, didn't apply the tag.
And the 1-1 off speed, and he got it over.
You know, it's funny if you take a look at the pitch and say, boy, that was not a good pitch because it was up in his wheelhouse, but the key to that pitch was off speed. Just getting to hit it out in front, not able to time the ball. Olerud talks about balance. He doesn't talk about his hands. He doesn't talk about anything but balance.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Gilkey the runner at first. Olerud pops it up to the left side. Herring, the third baseman, takes the catch to get away. So with 2 out, Todd Hundley, who homered his last time up, will take another shot at Suppan.
Yeah, he got a fastball out over the plate, and he turned on the ball, hit the ball over the wall. He juiced the ball over the wall. John Olerud looking out at Jeff Suppan.
Red Sox starting to get some action down in their bullpen. John Wasden starting to loosen up. Suppan made the last out in the top of the 5th inning, so it's not like the pitcher spot will be coming up anytime soon. First pitch to Hundley, over for a strike.
That was a pretty good pitch for Todd. The juice right there. Watson looking on. I should say throw him the bullpen. He can also be looking on between pitches, eh?
Better be, you never know. Hundley not likely to hit one the other way that deep, but he did for his historic home run last year off of Greg McMichael. That was home run number 41, which broke Roy Campanella's record for home runs in a season by a catcher. We've certainly documented that quite a bit.
But you're right. He rarely hits the ball the other way over the fence from left side of the plate. That was an indication it was late in the season. He was tired.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs here in the home 5th. It's 3-2 Boston. And again, Suppan checks Gilkey back to first.
Hundley looks like he's locked into one of those home run swings, and they come in bunches for hitters, and especially catchers. Catchers usually are streak hitters because the nature of that job, occasionally you get tired, your back gets slow, but you keep putting that catcher out there if he can hit. Oh, this guy, Hatterberg, would like to go home right now. He got crossed up, a ball bounced at him in the head, and he just got tattooed with a foul ball. Right now he is saying, I should have been a brain surgeon.
Hey, listen, Hundley knows all about that too. Kidding Todd about that before the game. I mean, you know, Toby Borland probably could have been arrested for attempted murder the way he was giving Hundley a workout. That's the loneliest guy on the ball club, all things considered. Nobody on this team has been completely buried, but Alberto Castillo clearly has had the least amount of work.
That's because of Hundley's back. Although Hundley doing a nice job also catching.
The 1-2 popped up outside first. Vaughn calling for it. And the side retired. So Jeff Suppan settles down. 5 innings in the books here at Shea. And the Red Sox have a 3-2 lead.
It's time for the Jeep National Sales Event. And what event would be complete without the usual smiling faces? Cool refreshments, colorful decorations, and of course great values, like this $339 a month lease on Jeep Grand Cherokee. With 4-wheel drive and 185 horsepower, it's capable of just about anything. It's at the Jeep National Sales Event, going on now with all the usual fanfare, not to mention a few balloons. Check out this $339 lease at your dealer.
I know most of you just graduated high school last year, or maybe you've been working for a while, seen some things, done some things, but nothing has prepared you for what's going to happen now. We're going to set goals for each of you, way up here, way up here, and then we're going to help you exceed them, believe it. And when finished, you're going to have not just a degree, you'll be a different person, a better person. Welcome to Iona.
Aspire, achieve. Iona. Call Iona College at 1-800-231-IONA.
In some places, full-time four-wheel drive isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. The incredible 7-passenger Lexus LX 450. Take to the high road at your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Lexus dealer.
Tuesday night, watch the Mets and Yanks in a blowout interleague battle at Yankee Stadium. This Tuesday at 7:30 here on Sports Channel.
Well, stick around for more Mets baseball tonight at 11 p.m. on Sports Channel Light, brought to you by Gatorade. Vermonte Bryant will bring you the complete recap of this game with all the key highlights in just 30 minutes. It's the Mets and Red Sox on Sports Channel Light tonight at 11 p.m. if you stay tuned to Sports Channel.
Top of the order as we go to the 6th inning. Nomar Garcia-Parra, Aaron Bragg, and Mo Vaughn. And here is one of the most active hitters in the batter's box in baseball. Hits it hard, base hit. So Garcia-Parra, that's Nomar, N-O-M-A-R, Garcia-Parra. Spell that backwards. It comes out R-A-M-O-N, Ramon. That's his father's name. Now we'd ask you to spell Garcia-Parra backwards, but we're hopeful that this game will be concluded in 9 innings in about 3 hours, therefore not allotting us enough time to do that.
He can run. Got 5 triples. He can hit.
A-R-R-A-P-O. It's going to take too long. So now Rick Reed will have to concentrate on the base runner, Garcia-Parra, as Darren Bragg comes to the plate. Runner goes, bouncing ball. Olerud will have to go to first. And the hit and run gets Garcia-Parra into scoring position. 1 out for Vaughn.
Well, it's the 90s, and we're at Shea. Where was Mo Vaughn just a few years ago? Well, he wasn't in New York. He was in New Jersey. He was playing for Seton Hall, and he was a lot lighter. Big Mo at the plate. Still has the same stroke, doesn't he? Hits the ball over the wall at Seton Hall.
Seton Hall must have had a lousy cafeteria.
Well, Boston's got some great restaurants, don't they?
Well, Mo Vaughn may gain a pound here as he just watches. I mean, that's all he's going to do. He's not going to swing the bat. All he can do is watch as Rick Reed will issue the intentional walk and go after Naring. But here's tonight's episode of our Chrysler League leaders.
Look at Griffey, 26. How about Mark McGuire, 24? Just amazing. I'll tell you another guy who's sneaking into that group. You see that guy from Houston? Jeff Bagwell.
Over the 60 RBI mark, too.
Bagwell hit his 20th home run tonight. Most underrated player in all of baseball. He's a complete player. When you compare him to the other first baseman, Jeff Bagwell's an outstanding defensive player. You check out those glamour statistics in the paper every morning. Jeff Bagwell is in just about every one of them.
So the intentional walk to Vaughn. The Mets can play the infield at double play depth as Naring, who popped to second and grounded to short, will be the batter. 3-2 Boston. 3-4-0 for the Red Sox. 2-6-0 for the Mets. And a breaking ball for a strike, 0-1.
This guy's one of the real true hard-nosed players on the Boston Red Sox ball club. Every single day he's out there, although he's had some back trouble throughout his career, but I guess there's a word in baseball they use for a guy that's hard-nosed, and I guess it's gamer.
Or for pitchers, we call them bulldogs. The 0-1. Olerud can't come up with it. A fair ball. Garcia-Parra held up at first, but now he's being waved around. Vaughn lumbering into third, and into second goes Naring with an RBI double. It's 4-2 Boston.
Catcher Scott Hatterberg.
Well, you've heard about hitters muscling the ball. Here's Garcia-Parra. I shouldn't say Garcia-Parra, I should say Naring muscling this ball down the right field line. And it's a double, a soft double. But that is a great shot of muscling the ball into the outfield.
So now the Red Sox with runners at second and third, leading 4-2. Right now the Met infield starts deep. They creep up as the first pitch to Scott Hatteberg is taken for a ball. So we'll see how Bobby Valentine plays the infield here. Remember, if you bring the infield all the way in, a base hit probably scores 2 and gives the Red Sox a 4-run lead. Mets reluctant to give that much up. Here they come. They end up about halfway rather than all the way in.
Well, and clearly they have an opportunity when they do that to hold Mo Vaughn at third base if the ball's hitting the ground. You see Ricardo Jordan throwing in the bullpen. But Mo Vaughn doesn't have that real good speed. In fact, as Howie mentioned, he lumbered into third base. Well, he's not going to score a ground ball if that infield comes in when the ball is heading to the plate. Tough to lumber home.
1 ball, 1 strike on Hatteberg. Vaughn at third, Naring at second. 4-2 Boston here in the 6th. Curveball foul. And now Reed ahead in the count. That mean you can expect another breaking ball here? He's thrown a lot of them. The home run that Valentin hit on a 3-2 pitch in the 5th inning was a high fastball.
Yeah, if he loses confidence in his fastball, he's in trouble because he's got to throw sinkers. He's only effective when he throws sinkers.
Vaughn at third, Naring at second. The 1-2 to Hatteberg. Up the middle, cut off by Lopez. Vaughn trapped back to third, out at third.
That was a fine play right there by Lopez. You mentioned Vaughn lumbering into third. Lopez probably looked when he was lumbering in and said, that man's lumbering into third. I'm going to get him if he tries to go home. Nice play by Lopez. And it was a bang-bang play at third base. Nice play by the shortstop. You don't see that very often. A shortstop with the infield and catching the ball, flipping to third, getting the runner diving back in. Where was Mo going? That's a nice play right there by Lopez. And Mo unable to get back into third base.
And of course, Naring holds at second, so now runners at first and second, but that hits deep to left by Valentin, and it's 1 hop off the wall. 1 run has scored. Hatteberg being waved home. The relay throw from Lopez, and out at the plate is Hatteberg.
How about Lopez and how about Valentin? Valentin scorching the ball here tonight, a big hit, and another big hit right there, but Lopez cutting the runner down at the plate. Gilkey to Lopez, Lopez to Hundley, and they get the job done, but it's still 5-2 Boston.
Looking for something to save? How about this? Save the money. It's National Car Rental's Spring Saving Days. Just call 1-800-CAR-RENT now to lock in great spring rates. Save the money.
I'm Cal Ripken, and this is my nightmare. I'm driving to the ballpark to make my 10,000th consecutive start when all of a sudden...
The team is ready to take the field. Starting at third, number 65, Dan Bigelow?
This is when I figure out this couldn't be happening because I use Fram filters, and you know how dependable they are. So I pinch myself and...
Oh, what a play by Mr. Dependable!
Fram filters, as dependable as the people who use them.
It's time for the Jeep National Sales Event. And what event would be complete without the usual smiling faces? Cool refreshments, colorful decorations, and of course, great values. Like this $289 a month lease on the new Jeep Cherokee. With its off-road capabilities and over 40 advancements, no wonder it's four-wheeler of the year. It's at the Jeep National Sales Event. Going on now with all the usual fanfare, not to mention a few balloons. Check out this $289 lease at your dealer.
Lace up your running shoes. The Mets want to see you at the Dynamets Dash on Sunday, June 22nd. You can run the bases after the 1:40 Mets-Pirates game, weather permitting. Call 718-507-TIXX and get your Mets.
Modell's replay is Bernard Gilkey getting to the ball, throwing a strike to Lopez. Lopez to the catcher, and that's all Mitch Modell from Modell's needs to see, because they executed that cutoff very, very well.
But the Red Sox now with a 5-2 lead, and Gilkey with another assist. And so Bernard Gilkey, as Baerga takes a strike, now ups his league lead in that department with 9. He has 9 outfield assists. Baerga's bounced out and popped out. No balls, 2 strikes.
They said Valentin has been struggling most of the year. Just recently got the bat going, and of course it's untimely if you're a Met fan, because right now he's got 2 hits in his game.
Now, might he be in any physical discomfort here? Did he get hurt on the swing? Remember, he had an abdominal pull last year that hampered him almost from the moment he became a Met. In fact, the abdominal pull occurred while he was still a Cleveland Indian.
Frank Thomas has been nursing an abdominal pull with the Chicago White Sox. Boy, there's no way around that. Now look at that Jeep Eagle game recap.
Well, Reed was perfect. Then a base hit up the middle by Hatteberg, a homer by Valentin, another one by O'Leary. Red Sox had the lead. And now the question is Baerga all right? May not even be answered in this at bat or tonight. It's 0-2 to Carlos, leading off the home 6th. He hits it hard in the home base hit. So Baerga with a leadoff single. That'll bring Franco to the plate. We'll take you downstairs to Matt Loughlin. Eventually. Matt's standing by. Maybe we won't get to him right away. So we have technical problems that will preclude us from bringing you Matt Loughlin's report, but we'll get to him a little bit later on as you look at Baerga, the base runner.
You mentioned the possibility of that abdominal strain reoccurring in that at bat. I'll tell you, it's never the same. There's Matt Loughlin. How about that right there? That's not Mad Dog, is it? We saw Mad Dog Russo here, Mike Francesa. We saw Steve Summers. Everybody that Howie worked with at FAN here. It's FAN night, WFAN night here at Shea Stadium.
Celebrating their 10th anniversary weekend, although the actual anniversary will be July the 1st. And they're listening to Bob Murphy and Gary Cohen, presumably. Although with that guy, he might not want to take anything for granted. 1-0 to Franco. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mets trailing 5-2. Baerga leading off the inning with a single. Franco singled in the 2nd and also bounced to 1st in the 4th. This is where the Mets are hurt a little bit. Not here at this very moment, but with Franco starting, of course Alfonso out as well, the Met bench becomes thinner. Franco, so brilliant as a pinch hitter this year, has had 5 straight pinch hits. In the home base hit for Franco. Baerga takes a look but holds on at 2nd. And the Mets have 2 on with nobody out.
And again, we talk about Bobby Valentine keeping everybody sharp because of the possibility of injuries and, of course, a long season. He's been able to keep Matt Franco sharp. A lot of times when you have a proficient pinch hitter, that's all you use him for. But Bobby Valentine has taken opportunities to get Franco in the lineup occasionally where it gets him 4 at-bats, and he'll be more comfortable at the plate. Jimmy Williams walking out. I guess that'll be it for Jeff Suppan. So it'll be a double switch. How about that?
Jimmy knows how this works. Remember, a coach for the Atlanta Braves.
I wonder who did the quickest double switch in the history of baseball. For example, was anybody ever double switching in the 1st inning?
I'll tell you, if I had to take a guess, not that there would be a definitive answer anyway, I'd say Whitey Herzog.
Probably.
However, Jimmy Williams going to make a call to the bullpen. He'll charge it to Omnipoint. The Mets down by 3.
This is cellular.
This cellular. This cellular.
This is Omnipoint.
This is Omnipoint. This is Omnipoint.
Introducing Omnipoint, a 100% digital system so advanced there's absolutely no static.
No static.
And so superior there's no contract.
No contract.
Polly wanna... Omnipoint, 100% digital, 0% hassle.
Call 1-888-BUY-OMNI now for this introductory offer.
Boy, he hit a beautiful wedge, and now he's got a tricky little left-to-right putt to win.
Yes, and he's going to have to be firm with this one.
To win at Take 5 from the New York Lottery, all you need to do is be close. That's 5, 4, 3, or even 2 numbers. Take 5. 5 numbers to pick, just 2 numbers to win.
We'd like to remind you that whenever you make it a blockbuster night, you never need a babysitter. The parking is always free. The atmosphere is as casual as the dress code. And you always get the best seat in the house. With thousands of blockbuster videos to choose from, we'd like you to remember that when it comes to a great night with the family, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Make it a blockbuster night.
Well, Jimmy Williams has this double switch thing down pat as you look at Jeff Suppan on the left, who will hope for help from the bullpen, but that's Bill Hasselman, the catcher. He comes in on the double switch. He will bat in the 9th position. And that means that Scott Hatterberg. And so the pitcher is John Wasden, who will bat in the 5-hole. So Bill Hasselman, the catcher, and John Wasden, the pitcher. John Wasden, 24 years old, came out of the Oakland A's system. In fact, he was the payment that the Red Sox received for Jose Canseco. That and cash considerations when Canseco went back to Oakland over the winter. Wasden used as a starter most of the time with Oakland. Made 4 relief appearances last year. Was 8-7 last season, but Jimmy Williams knows how this double switch thing works. I mean, after all, he was a third base coach with the Atlanta Braves.
And this is the one move that managers probably overuse in baseball in the National League, the double switch.
Alex Ochoa takes a breaking ball for a strike. Ochoa 2 for 2, a single and a double. So Bill Hasselman catching and batting 9th, the pitcher. John Wasden batting 5th. That was Hatterberg's spot. Infield set up for 2. Outfield a step towards right. With a breaking ball. 0-2. And the 0-2 to Ochoa, breaking ball down to third. Naring to second for 1. On to first, a double play. Franco did all that he could with Valentin at second base. John Valentin finishing the play. Ochoa rounds into a double play around the horn.
Well, 5-4-3. Valentin, shortstop by trade, turning to double play at second base. A tough player, right at the bag, not intimidated by the runner coming in, and they turn it 5-4-3. A pitcher's delight. Biggest thing in a double play ball is the guy that catches the ball, get it to that second baseman as quickly as you can.
So now Luis Lopez, who flied to center and was walked intentionally. We'll see what he can do about getting Baerga home from third. 5-2 Boston, 2 out now here in the Mets 6th. In the dirt, 1 ball, no strikes.
How about the Red Sox leading the American League in double plays? And the man who hit into the most double plays in one season is the batting instructor with the Red Sox,
right.
Jim Rice. I believe he was around 36.
Red Sox turning 2 tonight. 1 in the air, 1 on the ground. 1-0 to Lopez, breaks down low.
There's Jim Rice.
There was never a stronger debate, I don't believe, about whether or not pitchers should be eligible to win the MVP than there was in 1978 when Rice and Yankee pitcher Ron Guidry had unreal seasons. Rice was the MVP, Guidry the Cy Young Award winner. And speaking of a former Mets pitcher, now with the Yankees, David Cohn, he has a 1-hitter tonight after 8 innings. against the Florida Marlins, with the Yankees leading Florida 1-0 in that interleague debut.
Yeah, wait till the Mets travel all the way to the Bronx next week for 3 games.
You get meal money for that?
Absolutely. You can stay overnight.
Lopez pops the ball up. It should end the inning. And it's the shortstop, Garcia Parra. And the Mets threaten but don't score. 2 straight singles. That chase Suppan, but Wasden does the job. And at the end of 6, 5-2 Red Sox.
Whenever you travel or wherever you go, make Innovation Luggage a part of your world. We'll help you carry the load on your vacation and provide the travel accessories you'll need once you get there. Innovation Luggage will help you take care of business with style. We carry a full line of business cases, wallets, agendas, and planners to keep your world in order. Visit our world of luggage on the web at www.innovationluggage.com or come see the complete line of Kenneth Cole business cases and personal leather goods.
Havana Smoking Extravaganza is coming to New York June 25th at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. Come, enjoy, and take home 20 of the top premium hand-rolled cigars, courtesy of the finest cigar manufacturers, and find the latest in cigar accessories. Complimentary fine spirits, beer, wines, and exquisite food from 3 of New York's finest restaurants, while you listen to a live Cuban jazz band. Don't miss this wonderful evening of live entertainment and fun for cigar lovers. Havana Smoking Extravaganza, New York Marriott Marquis Hotel, June 25th. Don't miss it.
For every experience, there is a limit and the overwhelming desire to go beyond it. Showtime presents Television Without Boundaries.
We are now controlling the transmission.
Watch The Outer Limits and Poltergeist The Legacy. 2 original hours every Friday night at 10 p.m. on Showtime's Sci Friday. We dare you.
Exciting. You know, I know a lot of people here in New York are looking forward to that series, but I just think it's going to be really exciting, good competition, and may the best team win.
Well, the Mets are stirring the pot for the stuff to come next week in the Bronx. Why is Mr. Met laughing and holding a plug? Well, between innings, the Diamond Vision scoreboard, they were running 1996 sports highlights as part of a WFAN package. And just as PA announcer Del DeMontros said, and then on a chilly night in the Bronx in October, the scoreboard went to black, and there came Mr. Met having pulled the plug. But don't you pull the plug on what we've got planned for next week.
Yeah, New York City bragging rights are on the line Tuesday when the Mets and the Yankees rumble in the Bronx. Catch game 2 of this regular season Subway Series beginning at 7 p.m. with the Sports Authority Game Time. Join us for a terrific Tuesday night matchup between the Mets and the Yankees live from Yankee Stadium. It's interleague play, New York City style, Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. here on Sports Channel.
So 6 innings complete. It's 5-2 Boston. We go to the 7th inning and a new pitcher for the Mets, Barry Manuel. Barry wasn't so sure he was going to be a Met by today. That's because earlier this week it appeared the Mets were going to designate him for assignment, or at least release him, with the possibility, if he cleared waivers, that he'd be brought back or simply sent down by the Mets. And then some things happened. Specifically, some injuries. Rick Trilicek going on the disabled list today. Ricardo Jordan back up. Kevin Morgan also called up. A reprieve for Barry Manuel. It's 0-1 to O'Leary. And the bouncer to Baerga. 1 man out. One out, nobody on. Shane Mack will be next. And again, just keep in mind now, Baerga showing some discomfort with a swing in his last at-bat, which produced a base hit. But you always have to wonder about those abdominal things.
And when you get a base hit, you kind of forget any pain you have till the next day of run. Now, right now, Carlos talking to himself.
Mack bounced to third, fly to right, and he hits the first pitch, a looper into center field. So Shane Mack aboard. 7th hit for the Red Sox. Comes with 1 out here in the 7th. And with a double switch, having been employed expertly by Jimmy Williams in the bottom of the 6th inning, the catcher Bill Hasselman now batting in the 9th spot, vacated by the pitcher Jeff Suppan.
Funny seeing Wendell Kim at third base for the Red Sox, isn't it?
Wendell Kim, longtime third base coach for the Giants, fastest from the coaching box to the dugout in baseball history.
Absolutely. Hustles back and forth. And at first base, Dave Joust for the Boston Red Sox, a classmate of Dan Duquette at Amherst College in Massachusetts.
0-1 to Hasselman.
You're familiar with Dave Joust's dad, Bill Joust, who's a writer in the Chicago area, a fine sports writer. In fact, he's on the show here, seen on Sports Channel, Sports Writers. Originates in Chicago.
We showed you some of that during the rain delay we had in Chicago the other day. You're in Chicago and you have a chance, you got to go to the Sports Writers, right? The 0-1 to Hasselman, hit in the air to right center, pretty deep. Everett drifting back, and Carl Everett hauls it in. Heading back to first is Mack, 2 men away.
Well, it's the top of the 7th inning. A great time to enjoy a frost brewed Coors Light. Grab a silver bullet and let the mountains come to you. Coors Light, tap the Rockies.
Outstanding crowd for the first interleague game ever played here at Shea Stadium. Regular season, of course. The Red Sox know all about this ballpark after the events of 1986. However, that was not the only time the Red Sox franchise appeared here at Shea. Remember, the Yankees played here for a couple of years. 1974, 1975, while Yankee Stadium was being refurbished. Plus, the Red Sox played an exhibition game here in 1987. Mets and Red Sox played exhibition home and home. 1 in 86 in Boston, 1 in 87 here. And the pitch popped up by Garcia Parra, drifting towards the Red Sox dugout. Franco wants it, but he just can't reach it. They helped.
Who was that?
Well, you know, it could have been worse. They could have parted C and just kind of let Franco tumble.
Well, Franco over by the steps. And Jim Rice is going to help. No, Jim, get out of the way. Well, he was thinking of helping him out. Now watch his hand. Goes up.
But they weren't going to let him tumble all the way down. See? Do we have to pay that fan that got through, by the way, an after fee?
Yes.
The man you heard yelling, help him out, is not a Sports Channel employee. This is a disclaimer. That fella got on of his own volition.
You see how active Garcia Parra is with those hands. Remember what Mike Hargrove used to do with his batting glove? He rubbed that thumb of the batting glove. Now watch the feet. He's active. He's a dancer.
Well, the Red Sox like the fact that he does the hustle.
He certainly does. And when you talk to the Red Sox about him as a shortstop, they say he has very active feet and quick hands. Well, obviously very active feet at the plate.
Maybe he just used to be teammates with Roger McDowell. Outside 2-1.
You know, and he makes his home in Las Vegas, Nevada. Probably sees a lot of dancing out there. Look at now. You think that's is that a superstition or is that just a nervous twitch?
That's a guy who you get the feeling has been to a lot of backyard barbecues without the insect repellent after dark. Back to first goes Matt. I mean, it's that time of year. You know what I'm talking about.
He's at it. Look at him. Now the feet. Okay, he said, I'll calm my hands down. Now I'll get my feet going. Play the music.
That guy had to have played with McDowell somewhere along the line. Roger McDowell, the former Met pitcher, the hot foot leader in the major leagues during his career, gave more hot foots. You ever get one of those?
No. Not looking forward to one either. As far as Garcia Parra is concerned, they say if he has to make any adjustment, of course it's too early to do. He's got some real good offensive stats. They said the adjustment would be to shorten the swing, but the way he's hitting the ball this year, he shouldn't mess with that swing.
Upstairs with a fastball. So Emmanuel now behind Garcia Parra. 3 balls, 1 strike with 2 outs.
When they signed him a few years back, they started promoting Garcia Parra, and he's been everything they've hoped for in the major leagues. See Darren Bragg on deck. Look at the feet.
Let's see if Jimmy Williams has the runner in motion here. He does. Mack running, and the pitch foul to the screen.
It's a shame what Garcia Parra had to go through this spring. Howie talked about it earlier, how John Valentin was moved to second base. John Valentin, a guy who hit 27 home runs 2 years ago for the Red Sox. You know what? When you hit 27 home runs, tough to move you. He's got one tonight.
And again, Mack back. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. He'll be running for sure now. 3-1, becoming a real good, or has been a real good hit and run situation. Manuel throwing fastballs to a pretty good hitter. Not running. I like that. He's running on 3-1. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Why was he not running?
He said, I forgot.
What happened? I mean, how's he?
Yeah, 3-2.
There's no excuse.
You're gone.
You got to be running on the pitch.
Maybe it's a trick play.
Maybe he learned it in Japan. Maybe that's something they do over there. But Shane Mack guilty of a vapor lock. So anyway, runners at first and second now for Darren Bragg. Downstairs for a ball. That's a mental mistake. Jimmy Williams can chalk one up next to the name of
it's funny.
Shane Mack.
It's funny if they win, if it's a mental mistake, nobody says anything. They might say it jokingly. If they lose, then you hear it.
2 balls, no strikes on Darren Bragg, and Todd Hundley's going to talk it over with Barry Manuel. Manuel has been ineffective most of the time this season, and again was on the verge of being out of here earlier in the week. Barry last pitched last Saturday at Cincinnati, 2/3 of an inning without giving up a run. And the 2-0 to Bragg. Upstairs. 3 balls, no strikes. Barry Manuel in a neighborhood he wants no part of, with Mo Vaughn on deck.
Mo Vaughn likes to impress the people here in New York.
Well, keep in mind, left-hander Ricardo Jordan has been throwing in the bullpen. On the outside corner, 3-1. With Mo Vaughn, a left-hand hitter scheduled next, you get the feeling that if Manuel puts Bragg on, we'll see Ricardo Jordan for the first time since he was sent down. However, Manuel has fought back to a full count. You think Mack will be running now? 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the Boston 7th. Red Sox leading 5-2. He failed to run, 3-2, 2 out on the previous hitter when he was at first base. Garcia Parra drew a walk. Let's see what Bragg does here. There go the runners, and the pitch fouled to the left side. Will reach the seats.
Now there's a situation right there where Bragg decided he had to put this ball in play. It was probably a ball, a little bit out of strike zone, but you can't take a chance. Funny, that fastball looks so inviting when it's up there. And if a guy has real good mustard, you're not going to touch that pitch.
Bragg has been the center fielder virtually all season for the Red Sox. And again, an automatic start for the runner. They go, and so does Bragg. Good comeback by Manuel. And it's 7th inning stretch time here at Shea. 5-2 Boston.
Summers come too soon again. Windows steam, streets sizzle, sidewalks hiss. I feel my body's water wet and insistent, and I surrender to the heat whose passion knows no mercy. Don't sweat another summer. Check your This Week at Nobody Beats the Wiz circular for cool values on air conditioners, with prices guaranteed to take the heat off. Frost kisses my window with gentle, chill lips, and I dream of summer.
I come to America with only 1 pence and map of Kentucky. Today I have own beer tray and put it in Coors Light only. Coors Light, refreshing like rocky hills, cold. In old country, I had nothing. Here in America, a man get own beer tray and proudly yell, Coors Light! Now people want me. I am more than just a man. I am beer man.
The summer savings hotspot is Chrysler and Plymouth with 1,000 cash back on Plymouth Neon or low 3.9 financing. Get summer savings on Plymouth Neon at the Chrysler and Plymouth hotspot.
Well, folks, this copyright telecast is authorized under television rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and Sports Channel is prohibited.
And so, under a half moon, we head to the last of the 7. Steve Beazer, the pinch hitter for Barry Manuel, and the fastball by Wasden is outside for a ball. You should have seen the outfits on Steve Beazer and the rest of the Mets rookies that they were forced to wear out of the clubhouse and onto the plane in Chicago following the game at Wrigley Field on Wednesday. It was the rookies' initiation day. They had their clothes taken by the veterans and replaced with some of the most unseemly stuff you could imagine. Hard to describe what Beazer was wearing, kind of a tutti-frutti, almost Hawaiian-styled outfit. Didn't look too bad, but you know Franco is the guy who has a lot to do with it. Hit deep to right by Beazer. Dragged to the wall and just does have room. So Beazer making a bid.
Howie, if you remember up in Montreal a few years back, the Mets did it to Jeff Kent. And Jeff Kent did not respond very well to it.
Oh, yeah. Now, I happen to have, this is an exclusive. I happen to have the shirt from Beazer. I didn't have to ask him for it. We simply went to our staff of experts or pests, whatever the players like to call them here when it comes to asking for various things. And I will attempt to display it for you after we get through with Carl Everett.
Put it on.
I just might. I'll do my Steve Beazer imitation. Give me a second here as Carl Everett takes a ball. Now imagine being a rookie and, you know, having your clothes taken and replaced by stuff that these guys had to wear the other day. You might feel a little bit out there. Everett a little bit out there too. Just out in front, but I don't know if you can get a real good look at this, okay? But this is the shirt that was modeled by Steve Beazer the other day. Now, he didn't look half bad. This is not bad.
I think you've upgraded your wardrobe.
It's not a significant achievement, right? This is not bad. But you should have seen some of the other guys. Corey Lytle was wearing, I don't know, something that I could only liken to the shirt from the famous Seinfeld episode, the puffy shirt. 2-1 to Everett, except there were no shoulders to it. I mean, it was unbelievable. And these guys walked onto the plane right out of the clubhouse, but they loved it. Nobody was ticked off. Mets trailing 5-2, 1 out here in the 7th. Everett in standard haberdashery. Hits one deep to right. Down the line. That ball is a gunner. Second home run of the night for Everett. And it is 5-3 Red Sox. So Carl Everett helps donate another $50,000 to prostate cancer research as part of that joint venture between CapCure and Major League Baseball.
Well, Carl Everett with 2 home runs in this ball game. Both balls hit very hard. Now what do you do when Lance Johnson says I'm ready?
A strike to Gilkey. Carl Everett's asking Lance every day how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Carl's saying another day. You need another day. 0-2 now to Bernard.
That's a nasty curveball right there.
The 0-2 to Gilkey in the air to right. Ragg got a late start, but catches up to it.
Well, Carl Everett set the tone early in the game. First time up, he hit a home run while he's trying to change the atmosphere with this one. He hit a fastball his first time up. There's a ball out over the plate, and he crushes that ball over the right field fence. So Carl Everett, with his 6th and 7th home runs of the season, also stealing bases, bunting for base hits, and playing a good center field.
Second time this year Everett's hit 2 home runs in one game. Remember, he did it against the Cubs earlier this season. John Olerud takes outside and low from Wasden. So the Mets now down a deuce at 5-3. Everett's third 2-home run game, not only this April 20th against the Cubs, but back in August of '95 against the Giants. 1-1 on Olerud. And it was during that stretch in August of '95 when Everett looked like he was blossoming into the player the Mets hoped that they had received from the Florida Marlins. The progress was aborted last year. On the ground to second. Valentin with a wide throw, but Vaughn snags it and the side retired. But the Mets get a little closer. Their third home run of the night, Everett's second. Into the end of 7. It's 5-3 Boston.
We could not deny the RAV4 our top ranking.
The RAV4 breaks expected molds.
The RAV4 rides a great deal better than many a sedan.
Handling in both RAV4 models is excellent.
The all-new RAV4 recreational activity vehicle starts at only $15,118. Maybe we should start calling it the Rave 4.
Driving it is great fun.
Are you yearning to say it with silver or burning to say it with gold? Let Ford's Jewelers show you how. We offer one of the most complete selections of fine diamonds and jewelry, backed by the skills of certified diamond experts. We also carry over 40 of the finest watch brands in the world, plus an outstanding selection of collectibles with timeless favorites like Hummel, Disney Classics, Yadro, and much more. If you're searching for a different jewelry store, there's only one Ford's Jewelers. Always fine jeweler quality, always at a price that will please you.
It's time for the Jeep National Sales Event. And what event would be complete without the usual smiling faces? Cool refreshments, colorful decorations, and of course, great values. Like this $339 a month lease on Jeep Grand Cherokee. With 4-wheel drive and 185 horsepower, it's capable of just about anything. It's at the Jeep National Sales Event. Going on now with all the usual fanfare, not to mention a few balloons. Check out this $339 lease at your dealer.
They played in places like Brooklyn, Flushing, and the Bronx. Presenting New York Legends, a series of 5 instant cash games with 4 chances to win up to $2,500. It's our way of giving something back to the fans.
Well, there's Mo Vaughn out of Seton Hall University, Norwalk, Connecticut. Fran Healy asked him if he'd like to play in New York one day.
I couldn't honestly tell you. Every time I come here, there's so much speculation about this or that. New York's a great city, you know. It's a big apple, you know. A lot of things going on. My allegiance is to the Red Sox, and if the Red Sox were able to get something done before my contract ends, that's where I will stay. But possibilities are always possibilities, and Lord knows it's always fun to dream. It keeps your hopes alive and keeps a smile on your face. But I can never say no, but I couldn't possibly tell you yes. You know, it's something that you have to tackle when the time comes.
That's a lot of words for I don't know. He gave you some time.
You say yes, I say no.
Beatles, Hello, Goodbye, late 1967 into 1968, for the record.
If you're keeping score.
If you're keeping score. Ricardo Jordan is, and he knows this is his first outing for the Mets in a while after going down to Norfolk. You see those numbers, they basically tell you the story. 6 walks and 12 in the third innings. Really not acceptable for a guy whose job is to get left-handed hitters out. He did last year with the Philadelphia Phillies, and he gets a strike on the first pitch to Mo Vaughn, leading off the 8th.
You get the feeling when this guy steps in the batter's box, you're not going to move him. Even if you throw the ball in on him, he's going to take it in the ribs, and it's no big deal.
How'd you find the ball if he takes it in the ribs? Be like looking for one in the ivy in Wrigley. Line drive off of Franco. That baby was scorched. And Vaughn has himself what should be a base hit, given how hard it was hit, and it is a hit for Vaughn.
That's the too hot to handle, says Red Foley, the official score. This ball is scalded and right at Franco, but too hot to handle. Vaughn staying right in there. You can't get him out of there. Watch the swing, stays right in, doesn't give an inch to a left-hander. You think he's taking a swing at a right-handed pitcher. Just ate up Matt Franco.
So with nobody out, Tim Naring, who doubled in a run his first time up when he dunked one over Olerud's head. And that pitch way outside, but Hundley got just enough of his mitt on it.
Keep in mind how you said just a few minutes ago that Mo Vaughn is lumbering into third base. He'd have to lumber down to second base. Here's the last pitch. Now, left-handers have a natural tail on their fastball. And, of course, Jordan Wood, the way he throws, look at that ball tail away from Hundley. Hits off the end of the glove, and he hustles back and picks up. Anybody else on first base would have gone to second. Mo Vaughn has to go to second base on that ball.
1-0 to Naring. Upstairs, 2 balls, no strikes.
There's been a lot of talk about Mo Vaughn unhappy in Boston, but he told me he had a conversation with Dan Duquette. The Red Sox are not going to trade him. He doesn't want to be traded. He's done a lot of community work up there in Boston.
That's fouled off, 2-1. The pitcher's spot is due up next. Wasden batting in the 5-hole, but that's Mike Stanley, a former Yankee, who is on deck as a pinch hitter. Let's also have action in the bullpen with right-hander Corey Lytle up and throwing. And no, we do not have the outfit that Corey wore the other day. Thankfully. The 2-1 fouled straight back. The count even now on Tim Naring.
You know, I mentioned it before how Jeff Kent really fell into disfavor with his teammates when he had a negative reaction to them doing the same thing to him when he was with the Mets, taking his everyday street clothes and giving him a clown's outfit.
Well, of course, with Jeff, it had been done earlier to him that year by his Toronto Blue Jay teammates, and he thought once was enough. And the thing about it that night, too, the Mets were in Montreal, and they were trying to get out of there and beat the curfew for leaving from Doral Airport, which is much closer than the other airport, Mirabel, the suburban airport. And those histrionics really caused the Mets some anguish. 2-2 to Naring. Nobody out. Vaughn at first. Jordan deals. And the bouncer to Franco. They've got one, and Baerga doesn't even try to make a move to first.
Well, Baerga usually will hang right in there, but he wisely knew they were only going to get one because of the way the ball was hit. Naring with good speed, hustling down to first base.
Mike Stanley.
So with one out, Mike Stanley announced as the pinch hitter. Corey Lytle still throwing in the bullpen. Perhaps this conversation was strictly to buy a little time.
Well, the Yankees are tied 1-1 down in Florida against the Marlins. Cone has pitched a fine ball game for the Yankees. But Howie, did you ever think as a Met fan you would look up at that scoreboard and hope that the Yankees would beat a team?
I don't know where to look for these scores on interleague nights.
You gotta hope that the Yankees beat the Florida Marlins tonight, and you have to hope the Orioles beat the Braves.
Outside, 1-0. Well, absolutely, and I think that's part of what's going to make this rivalry that is only now burgeoning so special. That was Mookie Wilson pointing the outfielders around.
Very difficult emotionally if you follow that scoreboard closely. By the way, the Orioles are beating the Braves 4-3 in the 8th.
1-0, chop foul. 1-1 to Stanley. The thing about the Yankee-Met rivalry is that the fans may think there's been a rivalry before, but by the time we've concluded business on Wednesday afternoon, there will be a rivalry the likes of which the Yankees and Mets, and specifically their fans, could not possibly have visualized, nor could we at this point.
It'll be jumping over there in the Bronx Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll have Tuesday night's game and Wednesday afternoon game right here on Sports Channel.
Jordan deals in the dirt, 2-1. And for a rivalry to have true bitterness and true meaning, context, you have to play head-to-head, and I don't mean in spring training or in an exhibition game where you're bringing up players from the minor leagues just to play the game. It'll be for real next week. This one's for real right here. 2-1 to Stanley, and Hundley has to do a little goaltending. And again, in case you're thinking ahead, Mets and Yankees 3 games next week. Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday afternoon, all at Yankee Stadium. This series between the Mets and Red Sox will continue through the weekend. Games tomorrow afternoon and Sunday night. The 3-1 hit towards the gap. Base hit for Stanley. Everett can't come up with it. And so here comes Naring around third. Stanley pulling in at second, and the Red Sox have taken a 6-3 lead.
That guy can hit right there. He did it for the Yankees. He was a casualty of the pitcher's disenchantment in the Bronx. That's why he's a member of the Red Sox. Probably still not in favor as far as the pitchers are concerned with the Red Sox as far as catching them. And you can see highest batting average for pinch hitters. Now Stanley hitting the ball hard in the gap in left center field. Everett unable to cut it off, and Stanley driving in a run, and the Mets now trail by 3. They're going to intentionally pass John Valentin with Stanley on second base.
Stanley 9 out of 16 now as a pinch hitter. It's Troy O'Leary getting ready on deck while they issue the intentional walk to Valentin. So the Red Sox now with a 6-3 lead.
They're here, as Howie said, tomorrow and Sunday. A lot of excitement here at Shea Stadium, the Red Sox and the Mets.
And the intentional walk included.
Here's the pitching matchups. On Fox tomorrow, Tim Wakefield against Mark Clark. And on Sunday on ESPN, it'll be Vaughn Eshelman against Bobby Jones.
Bobby will be looking for his 12th win of the year.
A lot of people in the New York area, and I think we would be included in that group, would like to see Jones pitch in the Bronx. But as guys who follow the team day in and day out, you know it's the wrong move for Bobby Valentine to mess around with his pitching rotation.
I'd love to see it. I mean, it'd be great if they could match Jones up against Cone, but the rotation's not set that way, and managers aren't going to tinker. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. So the Red Sox with a run in here in the 8th against Jordan. Infield hit by Vaughn, erased on a fielder's choice by Naring, but Mike Stanley, the pinch hitter, doubled home Naring. Valentin aboard on an intentional walk. And the 1-0 to O'Leary sits inside. And some of the stuff, the problems that have plagued Ricardo Jordan, or at least did his first stint with the Mets this year, biting him again. He's pitching from behind. Not in the game, but in the count. Fouled back, 2-1.
Well, you're not going to have much patience when your ball club is starting to look like a team that can contend. You won't have much patience with ineffectiveness, especially from the middle relievers, because there's been so much talk about the ineffectiveness of middle relievers.
Infield looking for 2. Jordan deals 2-1, and that's on the inside corner.
Well, Jordan should be just absolutely nasty on left-handed hitters. There's no reason in the world why he, with that motion, shouldn't dominate left-handed hitters. When you're a left-handed hitter, watch where he strides with that front foot, right at the hitter.
A bouncer that Olerud snags. They get 1, eliminating the middleman Valentin. O'Leary aboard at first. That's Stanley at third. So runners at the corners now with 2 out. And Shane Mack will be the batter.
You are asked to please refrain from throwing objects.
A lot of the fans have, for some reason, taken to throwing paper airplanes out on the field tonight. So Del DeMontro just told them to cease and desist.
That announcement didn't do much good.
Sometimes it only invites them to do it more. But you got to do it. You got to tell them to stop and hope for the best.
Yep.
So here's Mack, 1 out of 3. And it's in there for a strike. When I look at Ricardo Jordan's delivery, and it's not an exact duplicate as you look at the numbers on Mac this year in these situations, 2 outs and runners on base. This is for his career, not just this season. 0-2 here to Mac. But watch Jordan's delivery. Does he remind you a little bit of Jesse Orozco?
Yes, yes, he would. Like I said, he should just dominate left-handed hitters. I mean, he has a nice breaking ball. He steps right at the hitter. Right-handers should be the guys who give him trouble.
Oh, looks like it's going to come out of the right field bullpen to the hitter. And it's in the air, down the line, foul. So Shane Mack made a bid for an extra base hit. But it goes as a long strike, nothing in 2.
Buddy Valentine wanted to remain very cool, and he just exhaled. Well, Howie mentioned Jesse Orozco. You take a look at his pitching motion, similar to Ricardo Jordan. This Howie Rose doesn't miss a trick.
Well, the Mets would love to see Ricardo Jordan in a position to get the final out of a World Series for the Mets and send that glove to the sky, just as Jesse did. That's popped to the right side in foul territory, headed for and in fact reaching the seats.
Well, in the Yankee-Florida game, there is a rain delay at Pro Player Field in Miami. It's in the bottom of the 10th inning.
You know the underrated game among the interleague games tonight? Toronto at Philadelphia. Joe Carter goes back to Philly. No balls, 2 strikes on Matt. Does that chuckle mean you didn't think it was?
No,
I know Williams isn't there. But
I'll tell you, as a youngster, when I was a kid, I used to go to the ballpark. I was fascinated with the sight of the player in the uniform. Now, as an adult, I'm not so sure I would shoot out to see the Phillies and the Toronto Blue Jays, but it is a possibility. I think this interleague play is great for baseball and for Howie Rose.
The 0-2 to Mack. Fouled away again.
It's making a traditionalist like yourself adjust.
I'll tell you what, I embrace the concept of interleague play a lot quicker than I have, or perhaps will, the 3-division wild card concept.
And the wild card has been great.
Well, it certainly added a lot of excitement, which is all it's about. If you're a traditionalist, but you care about the game, you have to accept that if these changes are going to be better for baseball, you got to like them. Maybe you don't have to like them. You can't force somebody to like something inherently. But to simply accept the fact that it's for the overall benefit of the game.
Tolerate it.
I'm sorry?
You would tolerate it
yeah.
rather than accept it.
Well, I'm embracing the interleague stuff on this small scale. I love it. I love the concept.
Embrace?
I like it. 1-2 to Matt. Pops the ball up. Everett in short center. Plenty of time. And the side retired. Mike Wallace and I will be back in a moment. Middle of the 8th here at Shea. It's 6-3 Bo Sox.
Why do I come out here? Because the playing field's level, but the stairs never are. Because if I can't get frost-brewed Coors Light to the fans cold, those guys in the Rockies froze their butts for nothing. So I scale concrete every night. Because somewhere there's a guy eating peanuts or some nachos, and he's thinking of me.
Coors Light! Coors Light!
Drive into a Travelodge location for free in-room coffee, free lobby newspaper, and a great room at a great rate. Call 1-800-578-7878 now for Travelodge.
The Buick Classic is making history, and here's your chance to become a part of it. It's your special opportunity to own a car driven by a star. A limited edition of official Buick Classic cars, personally driven by a PGA Pro, are available now at tremendous savings, only at your Tri-State Buick dealers. Get close to great golf. Own a car driven by a star. Hurry to your Tri-State Buick dealer now and put one of these official Buick Classic cars in front of your house.
Saturday, June 21st is Bat Day at Shea. All fans 14 and under will receive a Louisville Slugger courtesy of Pizza Hut. Join us as the Mets host the Pittsburgh Pirates. Call 718-507-TIXX and get your Mets.
Last of the 8th, the Mets will have to come from behind as they trail by 3. The third Red Sox pitcher of the night is Chris Hammond, a left-hander with Hundley, Baerga, and Franco scheduled up. Well, we showed you earlier the outfit that Steve Beazer had to wear as part of his rookie initiation the other night when the Mets were leaving Chicago.
Now here's Steve Summers. It was on the scoreboard between innings. Video department here at Shea went over to FAN and did this little piece, and Steve Summers gave him a tour. Now, Howie, the shirt.
Summers is a 10-year veteran, so I doubt that's the product of any rookie hazing. That's his real wardrobe, kids.
And Steve was here at the ballpark. I'm sure he's still here. He was downstairs prior to the game. We saw Chris Russo and Mike Francesa here.
What's louder, that shirt or the decibel level that he and Salzburg reached?
I'm sure Mr. Salzburg also here covering his game tonight.
Well, Hundley's bat has been loud lately. He has a home run tonight in 3 trips. Todd's been swinging a hot bat lately. The batting average just a touch under 300. As the left-hander Hammond works from the stretch. Left-hander here to turn both Hundley and Baerga, the switch hitters, around to the right side and be in position to face the left-hander Matt Franco. Off speed, nothing in 2.
By the way, if you just tuned in, we mentioned how it was WFAN night here at Shea Stadium.
The station will celebrate 10 years on the air on July 1st.
It's amazing how those 10 years flew by. Of course, they brought in a pretty good hitter early in the morning on FAN.
Mr. Imus replacing, let's see, the original morning show there, you had Greg Gumbel and others. But right here, the 0-2 to Hundley. Wow. Inside, almost nicked him. Todd's not looking to get hit here either. I mean, he hasn't even enjoyed his walks this year, and there have been plenty of them. Hundley's walked 46 times this season. And he fouls that one off. So the count on Todd Hundley, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Todd 4th in the league in bases on balls, actually tied for 3rd with Bagwell. They each have 46. Barry Bonds has walked 57 times. And Gary Sheffield 54. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody out. You're in the 8th. 6-3 Boston. Hundley's home run in the 4th inning gave the Mets a 2-0 lead. The Red Sox broke through off of Rick Reed, who'd been perfect through 4 1/3. 3 in the 5th, 2 more in the 6th. And Hundley out on strikes. Second time tonight, Todd has struck out.
Second baseman
Hammond threw off-speed stuff.
Yeah. Well, Todd gets usually a steady diet of off-speed pitches. Chases a ball down, and it looks like out of the strike zone here, 4 strike 3. Another look at from the side angle.
So 1 for 4 for Todd, and here comes Baerga, 1 out of 3. That base hit came his last time up. And again, in case you're either just joining us or missed Carlos's last at bat, he appeared uncomfortable after swinging and missing during that at bat. So he had to harken back to the intestinal pull that he had last year, the abdominal pull. And then he came up with a base hit. Now he's batting right-handed. Should affect him differently. And he gets hit out of the box. Yeah. That's the second time that's happened to a Met in 2 games. It happened to Everett leading off at Wrigley Field on Wednesday. And Baerga bunted one right off the coconut there, and he's out.
Well, Mets needed base runners, and if he gets a bunt base hit, it looks good. If he runs into the ball, it looks bad. They say, why didn't he swing the bat? Well, Baer got bunting the ball and was out of the batter's box. As Howie mentioned, twice in 2 games we've seen this. Out of the batter's box, and he is out when hit by this ball, this batted ball.
So give the put out to the catcher. 2 out, nobody on. Matt Franco facing the left-hander. 0-1. Hammond's been around a little bit now. Originally with the Cincinnati Reds. Franco coming out of the Chicago Cubs organization.
Tell you what, if Franco goes out and shows Bobby Valentine he can hit left-handers, you're going to see Bobby using him against left-handers when he needs an important pinch hit.
But he's way out in front there. No ball, it's 2 strikes.
Changeup looked like a floater.
Haven't seen too many fastballs thrown by Hammond in this inning.
Of course, Franco hit a changeup, a big home run against Pedro Martinez, pinch hitting against those Expos.
Well, good job by Chris Hammond, who did exactly what he was called on to do. Turned around the switch hitters and got them, struck out the left-hander. Jimmy Williams will like that. That along with the score at the end of 8.
Whenever you travel or wherever you go, make Innovation Luggage a part of your world. We'll help you carry the load on your vacation and provide the travel accessories you'll need once you get there. Innovation Luggage will help you take care of business with style. We carry a full line of business cases, wallets, agendas, and planners to keep your world in order. Visit our world of luggage on the web at www.innovationluggage.com or come see the complete line of Kenneth Cole business cases and personal leather goods.
From New York One News, this is a New York One community cause.
The Brooklyn Public Library is celebrating 100 years of serving the people of Brooklyn. In 1897, the library opened in what is now the Bedford-Stuyvesant part of Brooklyn. By 1900, almost 24 branches were added. Today, the Brooklyn Public Library has over 50 branches, and the mission is the same, to serve the community with information resources as Brooklyn residents prepare for the next century. New York One salutes the Brooklyn Public Library during this centennial year.
Time to lose a couple of inches? This is exactly what you need. It's not hard to do. It's easy to keep
The
up
Home
with.
Shopping Network. We have what you want.
Oh, wait, he's here. What took you so long?
I got nailed.
How bad?
55 and a 35 mile zone.
This is the absolute latest technology in radar detection.
The Home Shopping Network. We have what you want.
Hotspot is Chrysler and Plymouth with 1,000 cash back on Plymouth Neon Orlo 3.9 financing. Get summer savings on Plymouth Neon at the Chrysler and Plymouth Hotspot.
Well, we're into the home stretch. Gesundheit. The New York Thoroughbred Racing Association sponsors the home stretch, the top of the 9th inning. The Mets down by 3. There's a lot of the people here, no doubt, thinking back to the most famous Mets-Red Sox game ever played and wondering whether or not a similarly styled comeback is in the cards.
It would be wild here at Shea Stadium.
But it wouldn't have one iota the significance that the comeback on the 25th of October 1986 did. Anyway, Corey Lytle comes out of the bullpen now to become the 4th Met pitcher. Lytle much more sensibly attired now than he was on Wednesday. And his first pitch to Bill Hasselman is over at the knees for a strike. Hasselman came on in a double switch engineered by Jimmy Williams when he took his starter Jeff Suppan out of the game. Scott Hatterberg started behind the plate for the Red Sox. These guys have split the catching chores. Mike Stanley, of course, can catch, but he's basically a DH these days.
Yeah, that's the one thing you don't want to hear in your career. You're going to be a DH. You know what that tells you? Don't bring your glove to spring training.
You know, I was looking at the list of designated hitters or DHs that would be affected by this interleague play business when the American League teams play in the National League. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of big names there that the game would not be able to cope without if they were ever to get back to playing real baseball in the American League, too.
And that's pretty much the excuse they give. It gives some guys a chance to hang around. And they cite Henry Aaron. Henry Aaron was a marvelous all-around player.
But Henry Aaron had some interesting things to tell you specifically as Hasselman strikes out when we met him in Denver and he came on the air with us.
Some surprising things. One thing is he would not have stayed in the game as long as if he made the money the players are making today. He said, I wouldn't have been hungry enough to stay around that long. I was surprised. I mean, he owns almost all the offensive records. And by the way, was an outstanding defensive player, had good speed, could throw, just amazing talent.
Man, at the end of his career, they brought him back as a courtesy to Milwaukee. Just as the Mets did bring Willie Mays back to New York. Difference was Willie couldn't DH here in 1973, his final year, and Aaron did some DHing for the Milwaukee Brewers. I say back to Milwaukee because he played for a stretch when the Braves were in Milwaukee. Off the fists of Garcia Parra, right to Olerud. 2 out, nobody on. Another interleague score of note. Baltimore behind Jimmy Key beats Atlanta, and Greg Maddux 4-3 in Atlanta.
You think of Jimmy Key, who was in New York, now in Baltimore. I bet that's a sore spot.
Yanks and Marlins 1-1, delayed in the 10th by rain. Toronto 2, Philadelphia 1 in the 7th. Other interleague scores. So Cleveland at St. Louis rained out.
If you're a Met fan, you're happy Baltimore won tonight.
In the gap behind Gilkey, and one hop off the wall. Darren Bragg on his way to second, and he has a 2-out double. First hit of the game for Bragg. He had been 0 for 4.
First baseman, Vaughn.
Ball hit hard the other way. Lido getting the ball out over the plate. And Bragg driving his ball over Gilkey's head. So Darren Bragg showing some power the other way. Now Lido will have to face Mo Vaughn. Mo Vaughn's dad and mom, educators in the Bridgeport area. In fact, his dad had a tremendous influence on a lot of the youngsters up there, positive influence. And one of those youngsters was Calvin Murphy.
From Niagara? Calvin Murphy.
I had an opportunity to interview Calvin Murphy, and he told out of clear blue sky he brought that up.
Deep to right by Vaughn. Ochoa for a look, but he can't forget it. Oy, oy, oy. Off the scoreboard. Hot stuff.
Yeah, hot stuff is right. Remember when Darryl Strawberry would do it, everybody would go nuts.
Eight to 3 Red Sox. A prodigious home run by Mo Vaughn.
Third baseman, Tim Neary.
That is the 6th home run tonight, which means that $300,000 have been donated to prostate cancer research as part of a very special promotion being handled by Major League Baseball. $300,000 raised tonight. $50,000 for every home run hit.
I'll tell you one thing. Vaughn got all of that ball.
So it's 8 to 3 Boston. Vaughn's 20th home run of the year. Now has 44 runs batted in. So Lytle got the first 2 in this inning. A double by Bragg, a homer by Vaughn, and a strike now to Tim Neary. Mets led this game 2-0 as time is called by the home plate ump Ed Rapuano, which is just as well, because even if you're a Mets fan, you have to appreciate the power of Mo Vaughn. Rapuano, I think, a little concerned about some of the stuff coming out of the stands.
Yeah, something was thrown on the field, and he's not happy about it. And first base umpire Terry Tata going in to talk to Rapuano. We're going to take a look at that home run off the bat of Mo Vaughn. Lido goes down low with the pitch, and the big guy, big Mo Vaughn, hits this a ton in his wheelhouse. And Mo knew it was gone. He said, I'm going to watch it and see how far I hit it.
That's halfway up the line score there. It looked as though it got the part of the scoreboard between the Red Sox and Mets run totals. So he just knocked that 6 into an 8. What he did was light up a couple of those light bulbs that help a 6 form an 8. Pretty sure that's where it hit. But either way, you get onto the matrix part of that scoreboard, you've done something special. And Mo Vaughn has tonight.
How many guys have hit that? Darryl Boston, Darryl Strawberry.
In the same inning off of Xavier Hernandez. Xavier Hernandez. I got to get it right once in a while.
Did McCovey ever hit that scoreboard?
You know, I'll tell you, a couple of guys I remember hitting it when we get back to action in the last of the 9th inning, because Naring is out on strikes. But this one is worth not only looking at again, but listening to. Listen for contact.
In the power of the beer vendor, that one man with one beer born in the Rockies can refresh thousands. I believe in the perfect pour. Frost Brewing. Cold beer, warm heart. I believe that the 3 most important words on earth are hay, beer, man. That if a vendor can't get you your Coors Light at its ultimate refreshment level, it's a darn shame. And I believe in comfortable shoes.
No dogs, no stoplights, no rain. Just getting fit, staying fit, losing the fat. Yeah, you can get there with this. Into running, walking, you will reach your goal. You cannot stop. This is why. Keeps you moving. Call it motivation. Want it higher, harder, steeper? You will get there. You won't pound your knees, your ankles, your joints. This tells you where you are, how far you'll go, and what you'll attain. So when you get there, it gets out of your way. Space Saver Thin Line from Proform. Hey, this isn't much. This is smart.
The new Proform Space Saver treadmill, more compact than ever. Call for a 30-day in-home trial.
Now you can earn a free weekend night after just 3 stays at Hilton. Between June 2nd and August 31st, every 3 Double Dip stays will earn Hilton Honors Worldwide members 1 free night. To start earning your free night, call 1-800-HILTONS.
Last licks for the Mets. They've got a long way to go here, down 5. Mets had a 2-0 lead. Rick Reed sailing along, retired the first 13, then gave up 3 in the 5th, 2 more in the 6th. So Alex Ochoa with 2 out of 3 gets started against Heathcliff Slocum.
He's been a forgotten man in Boston. He has struggled, having trouble throwing strikes as he throws a strike.
Butch Henry also has some saves out of the bullpen for the Red Sox, like you can get a save anywhere else, but he's on the disabled list right now. And Slocum has struggled. He's given up a lot of hits. He's lost 3 games. Closers aren't supposed to do that either. He does have 6 saves. 1-1 to Ochoa. 2 balls, no strikes. And Heathcliff Slocum, of course.
He dominated 1 year with the Phillies.
And also a local kid.
Oh, yes.
At a Richmond Hill, John Bowne High School, which is, I mean, you could almost, if it's a nice enough day, walk from John Bowne High School to Shea Stadium. You go down Main Street, you go, let's see, that'd be north on Main Street, and just keep walking on Main Street till you get to Roosevelt Avenue. You make a left on Roosevelt, what my buddies and I used to do, go over the Roosevelt Avenue Bridge, save some money on the subway, and here you are.
And you know what, more importantly, our tape man, Ed Berman, I know he attended that high school. We're not sure if he graduated.
Well, after 7 years, you'd have thought they'd at least given him a diploma. The 3-1 to Ochoa. That's hit in the air to left field and deep. O'Leary back. That's a gunner. The 7th home run of the game. $350,000 donated by CapCure in conjunction with Major League Baseball to prostate cancer research. Ochoa makes it 8-4 Boston.
And another example of Bobby Valentine trying to get those players and keep them all in shape. Ochoa has been in and out of the lineup, and 3 hits tonight. He brings his average up, which is really going to help him, and he hits a long home run. There's the home run ball flying out of Shea Stadium tonight. You see the big fella, Butch Husky, with the bat in his hand.
So the first home run of the year for Alex Ochoa. Mets down 4. That's Husky on deck. Let's see, behind him you got Carter, Mitchell, Knight, Wilson, with Howard Johnson in the hole. 1 ball, 1 strike. The amazing thing about that comeback, 2 out, nobody on. The Red Sox a strike away from winning the World Series. Is 11 years later, after you've stopped thinking about it as often as you might have the first couple of years. I know this is an overused word, but it was truly an unbelievable comeback.
Yeah. Ask the Red Sox. You know, Don Baylor said he still has nightmares about that ground ball.
Okay, I could understand it. I'm sure Buckner does too. I don't mean the second base up here, C.B. Buckner. No relation to Bill Buckner. Breaking ball. I'll tell you what, Ed Rapuano looked like he thought about it for a second and then decided to punch out Lopez. 1 away.
Well, Slocum, as I mentioned, has been struggling coming out of the bullpen. And here he throws a good pitch to Lopez. Lopez takes it right on the corner of the plate. Lopez probably thought it was up a little bit. It was a high strike.
So 1 out, and now Butch Husky, who has that tender hamstring. That's why he didn't start tonight. And remember as well, a lot of water in the outfield after the heavy rains today.
And Ochoa driving this ball over the left field wall here in the bottom of the 9th inning. He has 3 hits in tonight's game, and now we get a pinch hitter. As you look at Alex Ochoa, the big guy, Butch Husky, is now hitting.
1 ball, no strikes on Husky. And the count even. Got a couple of 42s in the yard tonight. Butch, as well as Red Sox first baseman Mo Vaughn. Those numbers permanently retired at the end of each of those players remaining in the game wearing it. Retired.
What a night here at Shea Stadium when they retired Jackie Robinson's number.
And Husky hits one in the air. It'll drop in for a base hit. So with 1 out and the Mets down 4, Huskies aboard. See if they run for him here in deference to that hamstring. Butch says,
Butch says he can do it. That'll be it. He's out of there. And Dave Malicki going out to run for Butch Husky.
Can he send Malicki back? Is that allowed?
I think he has to clear it with Bobby Valentine.
I would think so.
And now Jimmy Williams coming out. He's going back to his bullpen. Butch Husky picking up a base hit off the end of his bat. And the Mets have a base runner. They trail 8-4 here in the 9th inning. Both the Red Sox and the Mets have 11 hits apiece.
Still not a save situation. However, this call to the bullpen is brought to you by Fairfield Buick.
Welcome to Park Avenue. A place where simple elegance resides. A place where the power of understatement is understood. Welcome to the all-new Park Avenue by Buick. The power of understatement.
Bring the family to Massachusetts and
visit our beaches where you can get on a deck
that goes 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
Take the kids to our children's museum, and then at lunchtime,
just tear their little claws off.
It's easy.
You can see whales hang by the neck.
And then man a real battleship and take aim at
the home of Dr. Seuss,
creator of The Grinch that stole
168 bases in his career.
Pick up your free Massachusetts Getaway Guide at all participating CVS locations.
But it's a dramatic 2-horse battle. Continental victory, the filly on the inside for the chance. On the outside, Lindy, Lane, and O'Donnell as they hit the wire. What a race here. Rion on the inside. On the outside, Jet is Beach Boy in an epic battle. In deep stretch, it's Hot Lead and Brennan. And Hot Lead, the Iron Horse, has done it.
The Red Sox go to their 5th pitcher of the night, Joe Hudson, a 26-year-old right-hander. He's been with the Red Sox the last few years, up and down minor leagues, each of the last 3, including this one. Was called up last Sunday from Pawtucket. Happy friend?
Pawtucket. I played in Pawtucket years ago before it was the Red Sox farm club. But see if Hudson throws a fastball to Everett. Yep.
Upstairs for a ball.
Everett was taken all the way. Mets need 4 to tie.
Yeah, Hudson had 6 saves working at Pawtucket, but this is still not a save situation. Off the glove of the catcher. Does that sound familiar? And on to second goes Malicki. So it couldn't be handled cleanly by Hasselman.
I'll tell you what, Hasselman went to catch that ball like he was crossed up, but if you don't see the catcher go out and talk to the pitcher, he just boxed this up. Now maybe at the last moment this ball moved. That ate him up.
So down to second goes the pinch runner Malicki, a pass ball charged. Hang in there, buddy, hang in. Everett taking all the way. It's 2-1. You got to see Healy over here. Every time they announce pass ball, it looks like he just ate drank some sour milk.
It's like a nightmare. I was used to it.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Everett, who has 2 home runs and 4 trips. Mets are still down by 4, though, 8-4.
Everett took a strike and then chased a bad ball. It looked like he was taken all the way until he took that first strike. Maybe Bobby Valentine told him to take a strike.
Outside, the count full. Mets still need 2 base runners in addition to Malicki to get the tying run to the plate. It'll be a payoff pitch. In the hole, base hit. Malicki will be held at third by Cookie Rojas, and properly so. Runners at the corners, 1 out. And Bernard Gilkey will be next. Behind Gilkey, you have Olerud and Hundley. The Red Sox get Schiraldi and Stanley up in the bullpen. So Everett, 3 out of 5 tonight. This couldn't really happen again, could it?
It'd be a classic. Joe Kerrigan, who was in Montreal last year, now the pitching coach with the Red Sox. Bernard Gilkey will be the batter. Mets still trailing by 4. After Gilkey, it'll be Olerud.
Red Sox have more action in the bullpen. The right-hander is Kerry Lacy, or at least the larger of the 2, Kerry Lacy, and Mark Brandenburg, the shorter of the 2. Both right-handers.
Well, this is...
It's Batman and Robin right there.
This is the meat of the order. These are the guys that have to do it with the lumber in order for the Mets to contend. This guy has to get on track. 1 for 3 in tonight's game.
Mets are down 4. They have runners at the corners. The infield set up for 2. The outfield a step towards left. Inside, 1-0. If they can get Gilkey on, then you'd have Olerud represent the tying run. He's on deck with Hundley behind him. Mets have out-hit the Red Sox 12-11. 2 balls, no strikes on Gilkey.
Well, the way he's throwing right now, he's got to take a strike. You saw Everett take a strike. Maybe that's the book. Has trouble throwing strikes. Jimmy Williams looking on. Looking like he's lost his patience.
Looking a little like John McNamara to some. The 2-0 to Gilkey. Fouled back. Again, it's fun to harken back to the classic comeback in Game 6 of the '86 series. This game, nowhere near even remotely resembling anything as significant, but you got to think they're squirming a little in New England. And Gilkey had the good fortune to be clipped with that one while he was in the batter's box, so he's still alive. It's 2-2. But they had a lot of crossed and folded arms in that dugout 11 years ago when the Red Sox went from Schiraldi to Stanley, and Mookie went from home plate all the way to the Hall of Fame, or at least the baseball did. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 1 man out in the last of the ninth. The Mets entered the inning trailing 8-3. Ochoa led off with a homer. Lopez struck out with back-to-back hits by Husky, the pinch hitter, and Everett. Runner on first goes. Everett has to come back, though, as the pitch grounded foul. Red Sox not terribly worried about Everett. His run doesn't mean much with the Mets down 4. Red Sox want to keep Olerud from representing the tying run. He's up next, and he's waiting.
Working on his balance. He said that's all he needs to hit.
Everett runs, and Gilkey is out on strikes. A foul tip that was held by Hasselman.
Yep. We saw that ball running in on Gilkey. He foul tipped the ball. Hasselman hung on. When you foul tip it, you're hoping that catch is going to drop it, but you see, look the way Gilkey looked. That'll tell you he foul tipped it.
Olerud's job just to get on and keep it alive for Hundley. Everett wound up at second base, as again they paid no attention to him.
This Hasselman's catching the ball like he's being crossed up, yet there's no dialogue between him and the right-hander. So it can't be he's crossed up. He's just having trouble catching him.
Olerud 0 for 4. There's a 6-game hitting streak on the line here. And you know Hudson's going after Olerud with Hundley on deck. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Here's the guy, and we talked about the meat of the order. Olerud and Hundley and Gilkey paid to deliver in situations like this.
Licky at third, Everett at second. 2 balls and a strike. Six home runs hit in the game tonight. 3 by each side. Off the outside corner. And now Joe Hudson, a pitch away from dealing with that man as the tying run.
And the Red Sox have right-handers warming up in the pen.
Sorry, the Mets with 4 home runs tonight. Ochoa's here in the ninth. Ball 4. The tying run will come to the plate. But it won't be Hudson who faces Hundley.
That's a frustrating feeling for Jimmy Williams coming out of that dugout, putting up that right hand, going to the bullpen. The only thing is he has 2 right-handers. So Hundley, in a pressurized situation with the Mets trailing by 4, will bat with the bases loaded.
But against whom? The big boy is Lacy. The smaller of the 2, Brandenburg. That's big boy. That's Kerry Lacy.
That's the big boy. And the series continues tomorrow here at Shea Stadium. The Red Sox and the Mets. Wakefield against Clark. Sunday, Eshelman against Jones. Jones going for win number 12. Tomorrow it'll be on Fox at 1 p.m. 8 p.m. Sunday on ESPN. Don't forget Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoon. Monday night, Malecki against Pettit. Tuesday night, Reynoso against Rogers. Wednesday afternoon, Reed against Cone. If you can't make it out to the Bronx, it'll be right here on Sports Channel Tuesday night and Wednesday afternoon.
So here's the situation. 2 out, bottom of the 9th. And the bags are full of Mets. That's Malecki at third. He was a pinch runner for Husky. Carl Everett is over at first base talking things over with John Olerud. Olerud just drew the walk. Everett will head down to second base to complete the bases loaded scenario. And Todd Hundley will take his hacks against 24-year-old Kerry Lacy. Originally signed by the Texas Rangers in 1991, he'll make his 16th appearance this year, his second season with the Red Sox. He got into 11 games last year. So Kerry Lacy, the 6th Red Sox pitcher. Jimmy Williams looking, hoping, praying that somebody in the bullpen can gain control of this thing and give his club the win. It is a save situation for Lacy. You have to come in, assuming you have more than a 3-run lead at the time, with the tying run at the plate, on base, or on deck. And right here, it's at the plate. Todd Hundley. He has a home run tonight in 4 trips. He's also struck out twice. Decent numbers with the bases loaded. He's hit 1 of 7 home runs in this game. 4 by the Mets, 3 by the Red Sox. 2 out in the 9th. 8-4 Boston. Bouncing ball. This should do it. Valentin to Vaughn, and the Red Sox win it. No 5-hole. The only Buckner in sight, the second base ump, C.B. Buckner. And the Mets have been beaten by the Red Sox 8-4.
And the Mets had their money man at the plate in a situation with the bases loaded, and Todd unable to come through and drive in some runs. So the Red Sox beating the Mets 8-4. But the Mets had the guys they wanted at the plate in the 9th inning. Were unable to execute and bring in the runs.
And if you keep a scorecard at home, you might want to fold it up, tuck it inside a drawer, because it maybe will not be worth anything monetarily someday. It will have some sentimental value as your scorecard from the first ever interleague game played during the regular season by the New York Mets. I know it probably means a lot more to Jimmy Williams right now than it does to Met fans or Bobby Valentine. Or for that matter, Todd Hundley, who grounded out to end the ball game.
And Todd Hundley with a home run in tonight's ball game. Carl Everett with 2 home runs in tonight's game. But the Mets come up short.
8-4 Boston in what was home run derby here at Shea Stadium. The first of 3 between these clubs. Fran and I will come back right after these messages.
I'm Cal Ripken, and this is my nightmare. I'm driving to the ballpark to make my 10,000th consecutive start when all of a sudden...
The team is ready to take the field. And starting at third, number 65, Dan Bigelow?
This is when I figure out this couldn't be happening, because I use Fram filters, and you know how dependable they are. So I pinch myself and...
Oh, what a play by Mr. Dependable!
Fram filters, as dependable as the people who use them.
You got me rolling on down the line.
At Sears, when we say you'll have new tires by 4, we mean 4.
I'll take you any place you want me to. You got me rolling.
Sears Auto Center, we keep you rolling.
Now that you found your one and only.
Roll into Sears today, where right now all Bridgestone road handlers are on sale.
Rolling down the road.
Sears Auto Center, we keep you rolling.
This is George Patak, reminding you that New York State parks and zoos are alive with adventure and more.
At Edwards, we've got thousands of bonus buys.
I found one!
And hundreds of new ones every week.
Hey, here's another one!
Because when a manufacturer gives us a discount, we pass the savings on to you.
Aisle 7! Aisle 7!
For up to a month at a time.
Look at this! Look at this!
In fact, we've got so many bonus buys.
Down here! Down here!
They're really kind of hard to miss.
Jackpot!
Edwards, everybody saves every day.
Well, there was a special atmosphere in the ballpark tonight, certainly a different one because of the advent of interleague play. A lot of excitement about the Mets and the Red Sox resuming the rivalry, which was initiated in that memorable 1986 World Series. But as far as the Mets are concerned, a forgettable outcome tonight, as in home run derby as things turned out, they were beaten by the Red Sox 8-4.
Yeah, it was a pretty exciting ball game. Started off on a right note if you were a Met fan. Carl Everett hitting a home run. In fact, Everett now with 7 home runs, 2 home runs in tonight's ball game. Starting to swing, a hot bat, playing good defense in center field. Lance Johnson ready to come back and play.
And you have to wonder, too, what happens to a pitcher when he's cruising along, gets the first 13 in a row as Rick Reed did, then gives up a little 16 hopper up the middle for a base hit, and then bang, bang, couple of home runs consecutively turn the game in the Red Sox favor.
Yeah, it might have had an effect. He was cruising along, and he was perfect. He was keeping it sinker down. Then he got the pitch up, and once Rick Reed starts to pitch up, it's a problem, and he gave up a couple home runs, and it was a tough night. But, I mean, early on, for about 4 innings, you thought this guy's got it all.
Do you remember the old show, Home Run Derby? You could still see it every once in a while, but they used to give out cash prizes to the player who hit the most home runs. Well, there was a lot of cash on the table here tonight. Major League Baseball, in conjunction with CapCure, paying $50,000 per home run this week. This is the first of 7. Everett on the first pitch thrown by Jeff Suppan tonight. Then came Hundley leading off the 4th, also off Suppan. That made it 2-0 New York. But then, against Rick Reed, John Valentin in the 5th, a 2-run home run to tie it. And the very next batter was Troy O'Leary. This would put Boston in front 3-2. There was more where that came from. Everett in the 7th, his 2nd home run. Move on. This one due to land at about 11:30. And Alex Ochoa leading off the last of the night. 7 home runs in all.
We talked about how Rick Reed got the ball up. You could see John Valentin hit the first home run for the Red Sox tonight. That coming in the 5th inning, and the pitch was up to Valentin. He took advantage of it, and once Rick gets the ball up, he's got a problem.
So the Red Sox causing problems for the Mets tonight. Boston winning it 8-4. And when we get back, we'll visit with Mike Stanley, the former Yankee who knows about playing in this town.
So, you want to see my Discover Card statement?
I am very, very prissy.
Put up or shut up!
I love to be pampered. I go have my hair done. I love to go have my nails done, have pedicures, manicures. My biggest weakness would have to be shoes.
Cashback bonus award really floats my boat.
How many credit cards make a statement like that?
I'm definitely a shopaholic.
It pays to Discover. Use it where you see the Novus sign.
We're standing at the threshold of a new era. Old ideas about energy are giving way to new opportunities. GPU Energy can help you make the most of these advances. With systems that help you operate your home more efficiently, products that can give your business a competitive edge, and technology that respects and protects our environment. What comes next? Let's find out together.
GPU Energy, inventing the future.
Come on up to Massachusetts and you can see Plymouth Plantation where the Pilgrims
dominated the NBA for 8 straight years.
Catch a modern dance performance by the Lobstermen of Rockport.
View priceless works of art
at any clam shack along the coast.
Take a hot air balloon ride
through heavy artillery fire.
And see where Paul Revere rode through the streets yelling, "The British are
Queenies at Fenway Park."
Massachusetts, come on up. We'd love to show you around.
Red Sox over the Mets 8-4 tonight. Our Dunkin' Donuts post-game guest is with us downstairs right now. He's the former Yankee Mike Stanley, who had a big pinch hit double off of Met reliever Ricardo Jordan tonight. And Mike, Fran and I were discussing during the game how whenever there seems to be something different happening around baseball, at least something that gets the fans talking and the media talking, the ones who are the most blasé about it seem to be the players. Are you blasé, or are you in fact enchanted by or energized by interleague play?
I'm kind of energized by it, only because the fans seem to really get into it. I mean, they were,
pretty excited about the game tonight, and obviously the two teams gave them something to be happy about.
Mike, when you were catching here in New York and hammering the baseball for the Yankees, you have to feel like a complete player. You go to the Red Sox, and you start off catching. Then they tell you you're going to do some pinch hitting and be the designated hitter. What runs through an everyday player's mind when a manager tells them you're now my DH?
Well, I'm big enough to accept a role that a manager gives me, and I didn't mope or pout about it, and just prepared myself to be ready when those left-handers come in to DH. And when Reggie's hitting, I'm up there in the 5th, 6th, 7th inning, always upstairs stretching and getting ready to hit if I'm called upon.
Have you leaned on anyone for advice about just how to accept the change in your role?
No. Early in the season, I'd asked Edgar Martinez if he had a DH book out, somewhere that I could possibly purchase, but he didn't seem to have one.
Mike, as far as accepting that role, I guess you have to show the team you've accepted the role, but deep down in your heart, do you feel you should be catching every day?
Well, I just want to play every day. When you get a taste of it, I think everybody in that locker room would like to play every day. And, sometimes on certain teams you just don't get that opportunity. And, just be man about it and accept it and try to do the best you can.
Well, did this game tonight feel significantly different, if at all different, from the games you played against the Orioles this week?
Oh, gosh, I didn't know what was going on with these double switches, and I kept asking
now, listen,
advice.
this is real baseball, right?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know anything about it. And
come on, wait a minute. When you played Little League ball, when you played high school ball,
I could
9
come out
out
and
of
come back
side.
in, though.
Huh?
I could come out and come back in, though, in Little League.
You didn't play in Bayside, pal. We didn't let any of that go on. No, but seriously, I mean, I've heard so many players and even the managers make a fuss out of, how am I going to handle these double switches, the change in the rules. We all grow up playing by these rules. Is it that big a deal to get used to?
Well, this is my 11th year in the American League, and I've only watched National League Baseball on TV and never really paid that much attention to it or understood the different changes, and I just kind of took everything for granted. So this is really my first taste of it, and I had coaches and managers and everybody else coming up to me and telling why we're doing this and doing that, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get it after a few days here.
Mike, how about playing in Fenway Park? What does that mean to you, number one, as a hitter, and number two, as a former Yankee?
that was tough, but they accepted me over there, and I was happy with that. But I learned when I got there that you can't hit the ball to right field there like I could in Yankee Stadium. I had to learn to turn on the ball a little bit and check the wind, which goes over the monster every night.
All right, you've been a part of Yankee-Red Sox rivalries past. Do you expect that even that will be surpassed by the emotion we'll see at Yankee Stadium next week?
Oh, I think so. The Subway Series or the Governor's Cup or whatever you want to call it, I experienced it just for a couple games of spring training one time, and it was pretty exciting.
What was the reaction when you were a member of the Yankees as a player? What were your feelings? What were the feelings of the rest of the Yankee ball club concerning the Mets?
Well, they weren't, doing too well when I was a Yankee, and a lot of people were, coming out and supporting us. And I tell you what, they got a ball club now that people are coming out and they, getting the fans excited, and they're bringing a lot to this town again.
Well, let me ask you one thing, hearkening back to those exhibition games that you alluded to a moment ago. Did the principal owner of the club you played for, the New York Yankees, put any extra pressure whatsoever, attach any extra significance whatsoever on the outcome of games between the Yankees and the Mets?
Well, passed down along the lines, we always heard the significance of playing the Mets, whether it was
but never directly from the top?
Never directly, but we knew the significance of how much that meant to him, whether we were playing them in Port Charlotte or Port St. Lucie or in the Subway Series.
Well, Mike, when I was at the Yankees years and years ago, every now and then, if we lost to the Mets, even though the Yankees at the time were an outstanding ball club, George Steinbrenner would get upset. And we all know that George is kind of an easygoing guy. Now, with that in mind, do you think if the Mets ever went over to Yankee Stadium and swept the Yankees, that George would say to the players at the end of the 3-game series, hang with them?
No.
Well, you might have the hang right part.
As easygoing as he is, he might have a little conversation with at least the coaching staff to present something to the team.
All right, Mike, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
That's Mike Stanley. He is the former New York Yankee, now with the Boston Red Sox, our guest. And for appearing, he'll get dinner for two at the Mid-City Grill, conveniently located in Midtown at 575 Fifth Avenue and 47th Street. The Mid-City Grill features creative American cuisine and fine wines. 8-4 Bo Sox. Your final tonight. We'll have more from Shea right after this.
At Chase, the leading bank for business, your company is in good company. Like 1-800-Flowers, a member of Tom Seaver's Business Hall of Fame. Chase, the right relationship is everything.
You'll find it easy to get to.
But very hard to.
Streak going, hadn't given up a run in 31 innings until Eric Young takes him down the line in left and out of there to tie.